Hey guys, and welcome to Little Black Book. You know what time it is. We're giving you guys an open panel, and we're talking to you guys today about should a man love a woman more, or should a woman love a man more? We're asking that decisive question today, but we're having an open panel where you as a woman can come up and have your say. That sounds kind of bad when I say you as a woman, but the women and the men are going to have a discussion. So if you feel like you want to contribute towards this discussion a little bit later on, then by all means, get yourself ready to cam up. Please, guys, can we cam up? I know every time, some of you want to come up, but can we cam up? Okay, it just helps with the optics. It helps with the visuals as well. You know what I mean? You're on YouTube, not on Clubhouse. Okay, so ladies, please, if you're joining, let's get cams up. Okay, all right. We it's a respectful space. No one's gonna clown you. Okay, and if they do, we'll make sure they get rid of them. Okay, all right. So we're gonna be talking about that a little bit later on today. But I'll put a link in the chat for you. To talk about this particular topic as well. Okay, but right now we're talking. It's we're talking right now about another topic because I didn't get to talk about it. Actually, it came off my feed all day, but I was so tired. I couldn't. I couldn't like. I couldn't do a video. I was just knackered. Do you know what I mean? So, but this particular topic has been coming up quite a bit. Okay, it's been coming up quite a bit. It's been having a problem around the place. Okay, it's been having a problem around the place. And it is to do with the whole Sierra situation. Um, Sierra has been making the rounds on the internet because the boys and the girls have been discussing quite a bit about this situation. Okay. And it's about her dress on the Oscars and whether it was appropriate, whether it was whether it was embarrassing for Russell Wilson that he went to the Oscars with her and she dressed this particular way. Can I have a quick? We'll spend maybe like 20 or 30 minutes just talking about that subject, and then we'll go into the main live for you guys as well. Okay. Um, I thought it'll be good to discuss it as well. Okay, so if you're new to the channel, do me a massive favor. Make sure you guys like, share, subscribe. You click on the bell button for notification of the uploads. And as well, don't forget as well, guys, click on our bell button, okay? Click on our bell button, baby, okay? All right, so we're going to have a good conversation about this topic. Let me put this on to banner so we can actually discuss this. Oh, come on, boy. There we go. All right, cool. So, for many of you guys, if you don't know about the Sierra situation, I'll just quickly put this up so you guys can see what happened. And it's what's caused the controversy. I probably can't even show. Can I even show the picture because apparently it was a little. The dress was kind of necky. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna have to flash it because I don't want to get YouTube on my neck. Okay, I don't want to get YouTube on my neck out here. Okay, baby. Okay, so I'm gonna. It's gonna make my internet slow because my internet's been moving mad of late. But here we go. Okay, so this is the dress in question. It might be a problem. I can't even show it too close because it'll be a problem. Okay, all right, that's the dress in question. Okay, I don't want to go too much because there's going to be a problem. They'll get on my neck. Okay, now obviously the situation with Sierra. It was a very see-through dress. Just type in Sierra Oscars dress, and you'll see the dress in question. It's a very see-through dress. And the conversation that's being had at the moment is Sierra being disrespectful towards Russell Wilson? Is she doing too much by being this necky on the runway? I heard some on the runway on the Oscars. I heard some conversations that were saying that that I had some conversation from some people that felt like Sierra was embarrassing Russell, and Russell is a Christian and he's being pulled in a different direction because of his wife and da 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 and etc etc. So you know what? I thought we'll have a quick conversation about it. You know what I'm saying? And we'll have a quick one and we'll go into the main topic. But Yo, Corey, what's good, man?
Yo, what's good, Coach, man?
What's good, Cap? What's good, Cap?
Good,
What are you
good.
telling me, bro? This Sierra
Yeah,
situation been going
man.
around the internet a lot, bro. So what's good?
Yeah, man. The only thing I can take from that is that she is bored. She's bored, bro. She's
Wow.
not. She's not making hits like that. Like she's making music, no doubt, but she's not making hits like that. So I think the song she recently came out with about the independent women, I think that she knew what that was going to do. It's kind of stirred up some people with that song. But then with this, it's like she's bored. She's married to
Mm,
Russell. Russell's a cool guy. He's a good guy, but it's nothing really exciting for her in this relationship. So
mm,
she's testing those limits. And for her to be able to get away with this is amazing to me because I wish my wife would. She was showing too much skin. It's like why? That's the question. Why? You have other options. It wasn't like this is the only dress that you could wear for this event. You chose this dress. So
mm,
in this situation, um, and it kind of goes to the whole, the loving of your husband more than they love you type of thing. But it's like, okay, who has the dominant control here? Because as a man, any man, I think any man will speak up in this situation. If you're married to her, like if it's a woman you just taking to an award show, a random, okay, fine. This is your wife. This is a representation of you and your house and your family. You don't want her out there like that. You're not gonna let that slide. So for me, I think it was in bad taste. I think that she didn't consider how Russell would feel about it, and I don't think that he was 100% down for this. If he caved, he just caved, but he wasn't 100% down for this. I just can't see it.
okay. Sam, what do you think about this situation with Sierra? Like, Sierra's shown a bit of skin. At the Oscars, like, do you think it was? What's your opinion on this? Do you think it's too much? Do you think it's just her being an entertainer? Do you feel like Russell's quote unquote being a simp? They might say, but like, what's your viewpoints to the situation for you from your perspective?
Hi everyone, hi Kojo. So the Sierra thing, if her husband was okay with it, I think it was not a disrespect to him if he was okay with him. But I do think he needs to be worried because she can wear what she wants, but she was showing a lot, like almost
Mm,
everything. And because I'm not judging her or anything, but I just
yeah,
don't
yeah.
know what type of men would want their wives to show that much.
Mm,
I'm just saying. So I don't really know what those people are about, but something is weird down there. I heard a little bit of what Curry said, saying that she's bored. I don't think she's not only bored; she wants attention, and that's a problem. I mean,
mm,
she's not only bored; she wants attention. Like she wants people to speak, and at this point, she's willing to do a lot to make people speak. That's my opinion. I love Sierra. She's very talented. But as a married woman, especially that her husband is known to be like, Christian, he talks about God a lot, a certain way because of the image that he has. I'm even surprised that he's okay with it. So,
You know what? People look at the body a lot of different ways. People look at it as something sacred, like this should be covered. Look at it like it's just flesh. It's just skin. So I can show it to whoever I want to show it to. It's not a big deal as long as I'm not being intimate with someone. What's the big deal? But to me, it's just something about that, man. I think that Russell okaying this says a lot about him as a man. We're talking about what you will and what you won't allow. You opening the door to other things happening because it goes inch by inch. Let me get a little bit away with this. Let me get away with this. It gets bigger and bigger and bigger. So we're not going to hear the end of this. It's going to be more to come out for her if he keeps saying yes all the time. And I don't care if Russell said yes to her wearing the dress. I'm talking about her frame of mind. Why would she want to wear the dress? That's a bigger picture for me. Why do you want to wear this particular dress to this particular event? So I would love to hear that.
I mean, I also don't want to be an hypocrite, right? Like we see a lot of women wearing bathing suit, and we're showing a lot out there, So even though I do have my opinion, let's not be hypocrite. Like she could have been at the beach wearing a swimsuit with a thong, and nobody would have thought it's weird because she's at the beach. So I'm also
Yeah.
saying, like, let's not be hypocrite about the situation either.
Nah, that's not even really about being a hypocrite. And I love when that argument comes up as far as like it's the same as a bra and panties, or it's the same as a bathing suit, or it's the same. It's a little bit different. It's a time and a place. So if she had a bikini on at the beach, that's understood. She's at the beach.
But for us, the
But
audience is the same.
before Oscar red carpet, that's not what you will wear. That's not something that you will present, how you present yourself. Now I do know there are other women out here, other celebrities out here who wear less on a daily basis, on a nightly basis, because that's what they do. But I think that there should be some level of understanding between husband and wife. Now, if this was her 100% of the time, it wouldn't be a surprise to everyone. But we've all seen her post pictures with her and Russell fully dressed in a nice long gown, everything covered up, looking classy, looking elegant, and then boom, now this happens. So I think that's what it is. It's the shock that she's doing this because she doesn't normally dress this way in public with Russell. So I think that's the big thing for me.
Okay. Trey, what do you think?
Evening, people. Evening.
What are you telling me, bro? Talking about the Sierra situation for a little bit before we go into the main topic. But yeah, what's your thoughts on this, man?
At first, I didn't have many thoughts on it. I was just like, okay, she's not the first woman or person to dress risque for some type of event or award show. Probably won't be the last. My overall thought, I mean, ultimately, if her husband is okay with it, then what are we talking about? Would we probably want our wives, or if you were his wife, would you do it? Yeah, that's a different question. It seems like the consensus is, ooh, probably not. But he seemed to be fine with it. But then again, I mean, well, to play a little devil's advocate, he seems to be fine with just about anything she does. But that's just him. So I'm not in his mindset. I don't know what really he values when it comes to her. But I'm quite sure, knowing Sierra over the years, I'm quite sure she showed him the dress first. So, hey, baby, I'm thinking about wearing this. What you think? I'm quite sure she did that. And he either say yay or nay. It look like he say yay. So,
got a question for you, Trey.
Go ahead.
Trey, would you let your wife wear this dress, bro?
We got to have a discussion.
No.
Let's talk about discussion.
No discussion. She just
talk about this.
She has the dress, and then she brings it out. And she said, "Babe, I want to wear this dress." Well, what are your thoughts on that? What would you say?
Well, my first thought is, I have to ask some questions because, first off, what type of wife am I marrying in the first place? Is really what we're talking about. If this is already part of her personality, this is just part of who she is. I knew that before we got married. That's my job to find that out and make sure I'm okay with that. Number one. Now, if all of a sudden this is something new, she just all of a sudden want to break up. Hey, I'm thinking about doing this. I'm like, no, I need to figure out what's going on. Why are we doing this? Like, where is this coming from? Because this has not been you during the whole time I've known you. If this is something new, but we definitely gonna discuss it. And honestly, if ultimately I feel bad about it or negative or I got an issue with it, yes, I'm gonna be like, you know what, baby, I'm not comfortable with this. I'm gonna ask you, please, to wear a different dress. Now, If she butts against that or has an opinion against that, then that's a wholly different discussion we're gonna have to have.
Yeah, yeah, you good, bro. You are good. I will tell you that. But for me, there is no discussion. The answer is no, straight up no. And the thing about it is that the reason why I have an issue with this because it's we're in a world right now where people look at things and try to imitate things. So now we're going to have young ladies going out here thinking it's okay to dress this way, and when they go to their husband and have this conversation, as you put it, and the husband says no, well, Russell Wilson let his wife do it. I don't understand why I can't do it. She's a celebrity and she can do it. Like that will be the conversation. And I'm not saying this is 100% of the women before the comments come for me. There is a demographic of women who will look at what they see and try to imitate what they see. So that's why this can be damaging. Same thing for men. It's damaging to men as well. For Russell to say he's okay with this does not automatically mean it's okay. Does not mean that it's right. We're talking about the mindset of a man. We're talking about the mindset of a husband being the leader and head of his household, what he will allow and what he will not allow. Just because you allow your woman to run rampant and do whatever she wants to do, does that make you a good leader? Does that make you a good husband? No, it doesn't. There are certain things you have to say yes to. There's certain things you will say no to. So that's the mindset that I'm talking about right now, is that for Russell Wilson to give the okay, that makes it worse. So if she just did on her own free will, one thing that's a bad thing too. But if Russell said, okay, baby, yeah, wear that, you're gonna kill him with that tonight. How much do you value your queen? I'm gonna tell you like this. For me, you're not going to embarrass me. I'm not going to embarrass you. That's what it boils down to. So we're going to have respect for each other in this family, and you're going to have respect for for me and this family, in this household, in this relationship, in this marriage. So for me, it's not even a discussion. But again, that will be the woman that I marry. That's one woman out of hundreds of billions, of people that's out here. So that's me. All I need is one. So I don't need everyone to agree or to disagree with me on this. I just need that one woman to agree. So for me, it's a difference between when you're dating versus when you're in a marriage. There is something, it's a light that switches. You cannot be the same person throughout. Otherwise, if you want to have that single lifestyle, stay single. If you want to dress like a single woman, stay single. That's all I'm saying. But to me, it's no way I will allow this to go down. It's no way. And I did say the word allow. I will not allow this to go down, because my woman is a representation of me. And I don't see myself like that. So that's where I'm at.
Well, I'm sorry, go to.
No, if you want to, you can respond. You can respond. I haven't said anything.
Well, according that was my point. All of this is going to be prefacing of who you are and who you choose to be with. Now, to your point, because I agree with you. If you have a certain value system and you see things a certain type of way, it behooves you to find a partner that at least y'all are aligned on those same value systems. So issues like this won't even come up. It may still pop up from time to time, but y'all are still on the same page. Now, to what you said earlier about what you say? Oh, you gave the example, right? You know,
Uh-huh.
you gave the example, if other women see Sierra wearing this now, they want to wear it. What do you do? I mean, my first response to that is like, wait a minute. First of all, we're not celebrities. You ain't Sierra. I'm not Russell Wilson. So why are you trying to be like her in the first place? But then that's going to circle you right back around to the person you married or the person you're with and what y'all value. It's going to lead you right back to the same circle. Yeah, would I have an issue if it was my wife? We would have to talk about it. Yeah, like, what are we doing here? What are we doing? But that's not my wife. That's Russell Wilson's wife. And if he's okay with it, ain't too much I can say. I'm not her daddy.
Okay. So yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Do you know what? I have mixed feelings about the situation, and I'll tell you why I'm having mixed feelings. I'm more leaning on the side of I think you see it and you get a shock more because of the context of the environment that they're in, right? Like I went through some of the Oscar pictures of people's dresses, yeah, and a lot of people weren't dressed like that. just gotta be honest. A lot of people were not dressed like that. Like some of the married couples that were there, I saw Idris Elba and a few others, they weren't dressed like that. You know what I mean? So I guess obviously for me, the context maybe is more of a shock, right? Because if I see Sierra with this thing on the beach, I might have less of an apprehension, but I'll still have some apprehension. Here's my only apprehension: I see titties. That's my apprehension. That's my only. I'm genuinely serious. If she wore something underneath where we couldn't see the nipples and stuff like that, I would have been like, all right, cool. But I see titties. It's practically, you know what I mean? That for me is I know Rihanna's done it as well, and we can have a discussion about it another time. But it's like I think, and this is the only unfortunate part of this situation. This is giving me Megan Good and Devin Franklin all over again discussion. That in the situation, it's unfortunate. I don't want to say unfortunate, but I want to say that because also the way that the way they said, obviously, because like I don't know if you guys saw it. There's another video that was a bit like they were in the prison worshiping God and worshiping Jesus, and then they kind of shoot to this video where she's naked on the red carpet. I think people see that difference, and it's annoying for a lot of people. And you know that old argument again about Christians not holding up to the truth comes into play. And I think again, it's for me specifically, it's about context. Because I was just literally on Instagram and I just saw a girl who's in a bathing suit on the sand. I scrolled past it like it was nothing. I just like, oh, she's in a bathing suit, she's on the sand. I didn't even look at it anyway. But every time I look at this picture with Sierra, I'm like, it's like it's a little bit for me. It's just a little bit too much for me, you know. And I think I want to be fair, right? So I want to say that Sierra has always dressed a little bit sexy. She likes to dangle a leg piece out. You know, she like a little shoulder. You understand? She like a little one off the shoulder thing. She's always dressed classy and sexy. This is giving boudoir. This is giving.
There you go.
It's giving masseuse. It's giving seduction. I'm gonna seduce somebody today. Not really the class that she normally oozes. You know what I'm saying? So maybe that's where people's also reaction is a bit like, this is a bit too much. You know what I mean? And again, it's the context of where I see this very thing. I'm not saying again that, you know what, if your relationship with Jesus Christ is your relationship with Jesus Christ, whether you enter heaven or not, that ain't in discussion. But I'm going to say, though, just because obviously that other people are going to have a comment, they're going to say something. This context of this particular photo that I'm looking at, I'm like, ooh, you know what I mean? So listen, if she, and I guess obviously context of time, she's got music she's trying to bring out, you know, as well. And, you know, she already was in the news for the whole independent song situation. I think people are expecting her to like go and be this Christian woman now. Like, you know, tame it back a little bit, sis. Like what you were doing before, tame it back. It's like, you know, bring it back a little bit. I think that's what people are expecting from Sierra now. Now she's dating and married. Sorry, now she's married to quote unquote this, you know, pious kind of Christian man, Russell Wilson, who doesn't have that kind of reputation. He doesn't have a salacious reputation. Do you know what I mean? So it's almost as if it's like, oh, okay, this person didn't really have a salacious kind of persona, but his wife has come in and she started dressed. And the thing that people are going to be really sus about and they're going to watch, and I understand where you're coming from, Corey, is that when she first came and when she first came with Russell, she kept it sleek and she kept it sexy. And it's now looking like, sis, you're now starting to unravel. You've been shaking your ass, twerking on the ground. Now you're showing a boudoir dress. People might be thinking, is she going back to what she really actually is? Which is similar to the Megan Good situation. Sometimes, and maybe I can take it from a different perspective, sometimes women like to choose men who are good, right? But when they actually have to now maintain, it can be very difficult because that's not your MO. You know what I mean? Russell's really kind of got that kind of I don't want to say boring look, but it's very simple. You know what I mean?
Boy Scout.
Yeah, it's not. He's not giving you expansive. Do you know what I mean? He's not one of those people you thought to yourself when Russell dresses. You think to yourself, "This is a guy of fashion." You know what I mean? Then you'd be like, "Oh, well, then Sierra's matching him with the fashion." He's not. He's really simple. So I think again, that's where maybe some people might be looking at it. You know what I mean? So again, it's giving that Megan Good situation all over again, where it's like you just wanted a husband, and then you chose a Christian guy. You're doing what the men do, which is like when we want to find a wife, they go into the church. That's what people might be thinking. You know the thing. Go for it, Trey, and then Black.
My only questions when I saw it, the question that popped in my head was, why are you wearing this to the Oscars? That was my original question. Not all the rest of this. Is he okay with it? Is whatever. Because, like I said, obviously, I think he saw it. He was okay with her leaving the house, whatever. But why at the Oscars? Like, that's, this type of dress never been kind of this is not an Oscar dress. That was weird to me. I was like, okay, this is strange, And then on top of that, I was about to say, to what you just said a few minutes ago, Coach, let's just keep it all the way funky, just keep it real. This is future Sierra that we're seeing that's popping back up. This we saw some of this back in the day, and ain't nobody blinked the eye because she was in that type of situation where this might be normal.
She also was not married.
That's true. She was not married. Mark my words here today, guys, that it seems like she's reversing because I'm just throwing it out here, she may be done with this marriage. She may be heading out. I'm just saying, you gotta think about all of it. She may be done with this marriage and she's on her way out because she's reverting back to who she really is. So now, it's like, oh, what's going on here? And people say, it's their marriage and it's no one's business what they're doing. You're absolutely right. If you keep it in your house, once you make it public, once you put it out here for everyone to see and to judge, now everyone will have an opinion. So the whole narrative of is there a relationship, is there marriage? You don't know what I do behind closed doors because I don't put it out there. But once I do that, if I ever were to do that, you have every right to throw your thoughts and your judgment at me, and that's where we're at right now. So that's why I said what I said. We didn't know what we was doing with Will and Jada either. We wouldn't know anything about August Alsina either if they kept that in the house, but they didn't. They made it public, so now everybody's talking about it. So when it comes to this is the same thing. So my thing is that with Sierra, she's going backwards. So usually when you're acting out, you're not happy with your current situation. So something you can think about too. Just throwing it out there.
Her husband may like what she's doing. Just FYI.
That's true.
Say again.
He may like it.
He may like it, but that's what I was saying though. He may like it, but it's creating a bigger problem. Okay, I'll give you an example of what I mean when I say it's creating a problem. Then I'll let you go, Shawn.
I also want to say something.
Oh yeah, go ahead, Sam. Yeah. I'll let you go too. So when I say it's creating a bigger problem, it's that when you go on social media right now, I'm sure the fellas can attest to this. You go on social media and you see every video. You see a video about cooking, but a woman on there is half naked. She's showing her behind. It has nothing to do with cooking. You got workout videos. Why is the angle always her behind that's facing the camera? It's a workout video. It could be a personal training video, whatever, but it's always showing certain areas of the body. Why is that? It was a big conversation a few years back. Oh, these IG girls are winning. These IG girls win. No one wants the regular woman anymore. Now those regular women are doing the exact thing now. So we have more and more content that's showing skin. Everything is showing skin now. It's tiring. Even for a black man, I'm telling you as a man, I'm tired of seeing it. If I click on something for something else, I don't have to see your body for me to buy into the product or for me to buy into the service that you're offering. So you're selling yourself. I mean, some women out here are selling themselves by skin. And if that's what she's doing, if she has an album coming out, why can't her talent be enough? Why can't her vocals be enough? Why does she have to go to this route? And why is her husband allowing this to happen? So these are other questions and concerns that come up that can start a trend, an unwanted trend by men. Women will be okay with it because they're living their best life. But I'm talking about from a male perspective. We want this to become a trend that women feel like this is how it's going to be from now on. At the Oscars, and I made mention of that before with Trey and Kojo said, I made mention of it before, it's the time and the place for everything. If she had this on at the beach, it'd be fine. So my thing is that keep your business inside of your house if you don't want me to say anything about it. But if you make it public and I disagree or agree, I got a right to speak on it. That's all.
I want to say something. I know I did say what I said, but I also said let's not be hypocrite. As far as what she wore, to you, Corey, is just a picture. You see a picture of her at the Oscar, you see a picture of her at the beach, she's still naked or she's still half naked. You still see the same thing. Let's not forget that. So let's not act like the context really matter when the finished result is the same. She's half naked or whatever. Kojo mentioned because you saw the titties. I mean, would you feel better if she had like those little dots on them? Would that change anything?
Fair, she actually had it on. I just double checked.
You know those little dots like Lil Kim? She had
a cover on the nipple. She had a nipple cover on.
Would that change anything?
So to be fair, yeah.
Does seeing the nipple change anything or not seeing them? Seriously?
It does. It does.
You can't even get away with that on normal TV.
Thing for me, but for me, I feel like it doesn't change that much anyway. But the finished result for us is that we're looking at pictures. A picture of Ciara in a two-piece, or she could have even been like in a thong at the beach or at the Oscar. Really, it could have maybe be weird for the people at the Oscar with her, but I'm pretty sure those people are used to that. But as for us, the audience, all we see is a picture. So really, that's why I kept on saying, let's not be hypocrite. People been doing that. They've been doing that. And that's it for me.
Yeah. I mean, look, if he likes it, I love it. But what I would say is that a lot of these paradigms, these situations, they just don't work out well long term, right? We look at Megan Good and we look at Devon Franklin, right? He was very, very supportive of her at the upfront, but it begins to wear thin. So some women will say, oh, he likes it. There's no man that likes that. He may tolerate it. He may feel in some senses of the word that he has no choice, but there's nobody that wants their wife to be on full display for the world like that. And meanwhile, 2 weeks ago, and listen, it's a very difficult line, but she was just up in the prison saying prayers, right? Bringing down, invoking the Holy Spirit. And meanwhile, she got her, it's Nipplegate running around here, and the dress ain't got nothing. She's nothing on, showing all of her body. So, yeah, I just think that in a lot of these instances, you got to be careful, right? And look, a man desires a virtuous wife, right? So, yes, have we changed and evolved where women don't have to wear clothes, a dress down to their ankles? But no man wants to see their wife completely naked for the world. It's not going to feel good. And I think, hey, she can do whatever she wants to do. And if they can make their marriage work, go ahead. But guess what? People pedestalized Will Smith and Jada Pinkett 10 years ago. And there was some folks saying, don't look right to me. And then look what happens now. Just a crumbling, because certain rules are in place for a reason, you know, and there's certain things that men need to do. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Men need to hold themselves up a certain way. And just like when men step out of line, y'all women are quick to call us, right? If a man's not holding his weight, if a man is being overly emotional, if a man is not working, right? If a man is not taking care of his family, if a man is doing too much, right? Overly aggressive, all those things, when men do it, they get called out. So when a woman goes to the extreme, it's a call out. Now, I don't know as much to say that she's planning on leaving him, but what I will say is that is done when you see that those overtly pushing the limits and the boundaries like that with that dress. It's for attention. She's looking for validation. She's looking for some level of attention outside of her home from the rest of the world. And that is a dangerous thing. When you start to look outwardly and you do things so far extreme to get attention, because there's no way, she's a very smart woman. You know, you're going to wear a net dress for the whole entire world to see at a major event. It's for attention. Those outfits, those dresses are created for attention. And we need to be careful of how much we crave that outside attention, because it creates a monster inside of us, and we want more of it and more of it and more of it. So that's what I think.
That's a good point. I remember when I saw the picture, it surprised me. I was not expecting that dress at the Oscars, as I believe Trey has already said. One thing I noticed is at first it seemed like nobody was really fussing about it. And I was surprised at that, because I'm not sure who watches Love is Blind, but after the Ultra episodes aired, Alexa wore a similar dress. Alexa's, of course, a thicker woman, and I noticed that there was a lot of backlash for her. Then, of course, I started seeing the Sierra backlash and everything with the picture of her praying versus the picture of her in the dress, etc. My thing is this: I feel like it can be confusing. I know some people say she didn't ask to be a role model. Okay, maybe she didn't, but people still look up to her, especially with her being wife now to this new dude. The whole, Sierra's prayer, all these women on here praying to get their husbands, kind of following the leader, so to speak. People are looking up to her. As a result, it can be confusing, especially for younger women who maybe have not fully developed their own mindset on certain things about, okay, so I can do this and everything else to get a boyfriend or a husband, but then I have to be the church girl, but I have to still wear the super overt sexy things. It can be very confusing. It can be very frustrating. And I just don't think it was the wisest choice, even from a fashion point. If there was like a slip dress underneath that or a bodysuit or something underneath that, I would have liked the outfit a lot more, just from a purely fashion standpoint. I feel there was a little not enough going on. But it gives me vibes that maybe Sierra, maybe she feels like she's lost herself in her marriage. I wouldn't say she's done with the marriage. I'm worried that maybe she feels like she's lost her own identity, and it's a way of trying to reclaim herself before she was, quote unquote, Russell Wilson's wife and mom. Maybe a little bit of a midlife crisis going on. She still look good, but she's getting a little older up there in the years. It happens. I just hope it does not ruin her marriage if her marriage is really put together by God, as she says.
I hear you. Listen, I mean, it's like I said, I think I can see why everyone has different points. You know what I'm saying? I can see why the audience may feel like we're doing too much. I understand why the panel are also saying we might have to be cautious. I can understand why someone might say hypocrite. I think I can only talk from a personal point of view. It's not for me. That's what I'm gonna say. I can say from a personal point of view, it ain't for me. I just think to myself that I think that dress for me was not something for the public. I think that's something that you wear in your bedroom. Okay, all right. Oh, you're wearing the sandy shores or the waters that you're going in to get baptized in. Okay, no jokes, but that's you might wear that on the sandy shores. I like context more than anything. For me, I like context more than anything. Do you get what I'm saying? Right now, of course, fashion is a very big thing in this particular world of Hollywood, right? So it's a very, very big thing. And so I think there are several layers that one could look at this situation, right? Because we can look at it from a dimension of saying, hey, we don't want to police women and their bodies, which I can understand. We can look at it from another level that, hey, you know what? If Russell likes it, who are we to judge? That's his wife. He likes it. We can also look at another level and say, we have seen men who have not been strong and their wives have done this, and what ends up happening is the thing comes to a whew, right? We can look at another level too and say, from a more wider level, this could also be, and someone just actually put it there, I was going to say it could be propaganda. That this is also conditioning the audience to accept more risque, more sexual things happening on our screens and calling it normal, right? Which amplifies a sexual energy towards it, because as Sam was saying, yes, listen, and again, this is quite interesting because this comes back to that conversation we have a lot of times where women say, do you like it? Yes, I do, because I want to have sex with that person, nothing else. So you see, I'm not thinking about wife and Sierra when I see that dress. Let's be honest, right? So I'm not thinking about wife and her when I see that dress. But again, like I said, that's a level, and that's just another layer we can add on to it. We can say that it could be from another angle. But again, I would say every person really every person's got to look at their situation and say, is it for you? If it's not, all right, cool. We can put a warning out there for Russell, because we have seen stuff like this happen to men, and it does go, you know what I mean? Say, hey, Russell, maybe, I know if this is normally her and you believe this to be her, this is normally her that you've had since the beginning. All right, cool. But continue upon your way. You understand? You know what I mean? If it's not, sir, you might want to start asking some real questions, and maybe both of you taking on a little bit of a journey to really discover each other against once more. You know what I mean? So I think there's levels to look at different things. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not saying it's one side or the other. I think there's levels to it. But me personally, it can't be me. Okay? Can't be me. No.
Okay. So also it puts us in a bad situation, Kojo. It puts men out here in a bad situation. Why do I say that? It's because when you see her, you have certain thoughts, and it is sinful to lust or envy another man's wife. So you going to put yourself out here dressing all half naked or naked, in this the very sense of the word, and I'm not supposed to have these thoughts in my head. What about you? Okay, all right then. That's not good. But I just think it doesn't matter who it is. I don't care if you're a celebrity. I don't care if you're a regular person or whatever the case is. We're all people. Just because you have a certain status doesn't mean you're supposed to be able to get away with this, that, and the other. People mindsets make that happen, but it's not the way it's supposed to be. You're still held accountable. If you make your stuff public, it's gonna happen. People gonna judge you.
Okay. Black, I have to disagree just a little bit. I grew up in
just a little now, just a little.
Just a little bit. I grew up Pentecostal. I am a woman that has always been a bit curvier. My weight fluctuates, but even at my smallest, I was curvier. A man gonna look if a man want to look. I have been looking me in my Sunday clothes. That ain't about to change nothing. I can't agree on that one. And not only that, I hate to say it, I think it comes down a little bit to a double standard, which is why I brought up Alexa. The people didn't jump on Sierra as quick. It took a minute for it to start, and I think part of that is because Sierra is a thinner woman. When Lizzo wore a dress similar to that, they hopped on that immediately. When Alexa wore a dress similar to that on The Love Is Blind, hopped on it immediately. There have been times I've worn things that was approved by the leader of whatever organization I was a part of, but because of my body type, someone else had something to say. And then the thinner girl had on something shorter and tighter than me, but nothing was said to the thinner girl. So if we're going to set the rules, we do have to be fair, which is why I took a minute to comment on Sierra, because it's like, well, wait a minute. If we say with Alexa, she should have just had on some different bottoms or a bodysuit or something, the same should go for Sierra. I don't care if you weigh 500 pounds or you a size 6. The rules should be the same.
Who is Alexa?
The plus size girl from Love is Blind. She had on a dress very similar to Sierra's in the After the Altar episode for her birthday party. It caused some stuff online because, like Sierra, she had on the thong underwear.
Yeah.
And etc. See-through dress, very similar to Sierra's, to the point that it kind of threw me when I saw it. I'm like, Sierra's wearing this too? What is going on? But my thing is, we have to be fair. Men are gonna look if they're gonna look. I can have on a pillowcase. Certain men are gonna look at me because of the way I'm built. That's just the facts of the matter.
Yeah, but we don't need any assistance in that. Like, if a man is a man who's walking a certain way in his life and he's not trying to do that, we don't need the assistance of a married woman to push us in that direction. If he's the type of person that's going to look, that's going to be on him. At the end of that's going to be on him. But we don't need that assistance from women to do that. That's all I'm saying.
And trust me, those people got comments, you know, and Lizzo gets comments all the time, but Lizzo don't care. Just like she showed up to the Lakers game with a thong on. I don't know if that's what you were referencing. And
now, I was referencing a purple see-through dress she had on, where she had on the undies, and it was similar to Sierra, the see-through dresses. That's been trending for the last couple of years.
Most men definitely. You can scan YouTube and put in Lizzo, and you'll see all the people that do not enjoy seeing her dress scantily clad either.
No, I agree with that. What I was saying was that when the Sierra picture went out, it took a good day or so for the controversy to start bubbling. Whereas when the heavier women did it, it was immediate. It was immediate. No questions. No defending. No, maybe her husband likes it. It was we don't want to see that. It got shot down immediately. Whereas Sierra, I felt like people wanted to say something, but they were not sure because it was Sierra. Then when the picture came out of her praying and stuff, it's like, okay, we can say nothing now. Pow.
No, I think the difference is, Amber, is, you know, and this is just gonna say it, you know, like, in all intents and purposes, a woman that's shaped like Sierra, it's not that necessarily we mind seeing it. We don't. But it does invoke a little bit when she is married and she is, her trend of late has been very kind of like she's behaving like a single person, making songs about being an independent woman, telling the ladies they don't need a man, dropping it like it's slow. Look, I'm not saying Lizzo has a problem getting men, but she just has a particular, aesthetic that is not as desirable as a Sierra, or universally, I'll say.
Yeah, and I'm pretty consistent. So it doesn't matter who you are. I don't care if you're Lizzo, I don't care if you're Sierra, I don't care who you are. Coming out dressed like that and you're married, it says something to me. It speaks a different language to me. So that's the part that I disagree with. That's just my thoughts on it.
Yeah, I hear you guys. Still different thoughts, different opinions. You know what I'm saying? All in all, Russell, is your thing. So you got to handle the thing from here on out, bro. So Sarah's your problem, not ours. So we just wanted to have our say because we saw her on the red carpet, and I hope the union stays strong. That's what I'm going to say. Okay, hope the union stays strong. I'm generally serious. I'm being serious.
I know you. I know it. It's a look on your face. It's a look on your face. Like,
I just wanted to stay strong. That's what I'm saying. I wanted to stay strong. I don't want a Devin Franklin and Megan Good situation. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I just hope that it's just, I just hope that it's just like it's just her. Do you know what I mean? Rather than it being an issue. And I hope that if he does not have a problem with it, then good. I hope he doesn't have a problem with it, because if he does, he's gonna need to speak up. You know what I mean? I don't want to see that situation. That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
and I want to just say I do support marriages. So I don't want them to get a divorce or anything like that. I'm just saying the characteristics of what she's doing now, it just seems very familiar in the past. So hopefully, if it's going that way, they can turn it around, because I'm definitely a believer in marriage and that longevity for the rest of your life. So hopefully it works out for them, like you said.
Yeah. I hear that. I hear that. All right, cool. Thank you guys for participating in the Sierra conversation. Let's shift it to the main conversation today, because the conversation was not about Sierra, but about the fact that should women love men more in relationships? You see, we had a conversation about the men loving women more in relationships, but you know what? I think women should love men more in these relationships, you know? Yeah, because you know what? I feel like when women get the power, they're manipulative with it. Just saying. Yeah, when they know they got you, the way they manipulate men, it's different. It's different. It's different. When you guys love us more, we're loyal to a fault, man. We don't cheat for nothing. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, when you lot love us more, we don't cheat for anything. Oh my God. Like when you love us more, we're gonna cook for you, clean for you, rub your feet. You know what I'm saying? We'll go to work 2 or 3 jobs. Like, yo, when you love us more, like I really feel like women should love men more, because you know what? The reality is women have to catch up to men in relationships. Because you guys are not logical, you make illogical decisions. This is the reason why I think women should actually love men more. Genuinely do believe that, you know, like y'all, honestly, you know, when it comes to relationships, you know, honestly, we have to have several conversations about communication. We tell you a thing, and then you get hyped about it, and then you take it completely left. You know, honestly, you know, I think ladies really need to love men more. You know, just a little bit, not too much, just a little bit. I'm not saying a huge amount, just a little bit. I'm saying just a little bit. I think women should love men more, just to equal up the level playing field. Y'all are behind when it comes to relationships. You know, if we deep it, women 70% of the time exit marriages. I think they're a little bit behind. I think they should love us a little bit more. You know what I mean? Just saying, you know? Yeah, Sean.
I have to agree with you. At first, you know, I know there's a little bit of trolling going on, but I have to agree with you because listen, you just touched on something that I thought about is who files for divorce the most? Women, right? And if they love their husbands more, if they forgave more, because what has Christ said? Because they told us, right, how a man is supposed to love his wife, right? And those vows, for better, for worse. We keep no count of wrongs, right? So women quickly get fed up.
Oh.
They get tired. You know, how many women say, oh, I'm not in love anymore? They're not. And so they definitely need to love us more. They fell out of love. You know, they don't feel fulfilled in the marriage. And then they, you know, they exit stage right. Now, we're not accounting for abuse. Okay, so let's take that off the table, right? But outside of that, they're just, you know, en masse filing for divorce because they don't love us more. And listen, just on the heels of that other topic, if Sierra loved Russell Wilson
more,
she would really be thinking about him and how would he feel? How would my husband feel about what I'm going to do? And I know I could, because we talk about this often, right? You can, but a lot of times you don't need to, right? Whether it's what you say or what you do, you can do anything you want to do, but should you do what you want to do, right? And so often it is our personal desires, it is that emotional part of us that says, well, I can do it. It's my career. This is what I need to do. And then we rationalize it and then we do it because we can. But should you? And is it for the betterment of your marriage? So if you loved him more, you would think about the greater good of the union. You would think about that.
Okay. Can I take it a step further?
You can, sir. Take it a bit further. Because the ladies need to know that they should love us more.
I'm going to take it a little bit.
Take it further, sir. Just a little bit further.
It is my belief that the man shouldn't have to love it all. I think that all he has to do is provide, protect, and secure your life. He don't have to love you, but you need to love him for him to do that for you. You see what I'm saying? So I think that the man's responsibility in your life is to make sure that you're happy, make sure you're good, and the love part secondary, right? You don't really need that from him. You just want to be protected. You want to feel adored. That's fine. You can feel adored without being loved, but you need to love that man. You need to give him your all, 110%. So those are my thoughts on that.
just to add as well, the reason why women need to love more as well is because when they don't love us, they down tools. Have you ever noticed that if they don't love you, the cooking goes, the cleaning goes, everything goes, the respect goes, everything goes. As soon as they don't love you, it goes out the window. You know what I mean? So, and you have to think of it as well, biblically as well. David had how many wives? Solomon had how many wives? Why is it, they talked about Hosea the other time, but they didn't want to mention that David had how many wives? I mean, he didn't want to mention that Solomon had how many wives when they were talking about, how we should deal with our relationships and how, men should apparently love women more. So clearly what we do see in the biblical precedents is Abraham had 2 women. You know what I mean? Then his son Jacob also had 2 women. I mean, there's a rhetoric here that's really playing through the Bible here, which explains how women should actually love men more as well. And, just like women said, they said that, they find love easy. Okay, they find love easy. They said they that love just happens to them. You know what I mean? Just happens to them. But what they didn't talk about is that, when they get into their feelings, that love that they have suddenly goes askew. You know what I mean? They never talked about how quickly it can get derailed. So I really think they have to have a little bit more, just like when they derail, they come back on track again. Just, saying so they can love us the way we need to be loved in all of these situations. Trey, do you have anything to add before the ladies can join this conversation? You know what I mean? Let the ladies know. Do you feel like women should love men more? I don't know.
You know what? I'm going to let the ladies go first. I'm going to clean up. That's what's going to happen tonight. I'm going to clean up. Because somebody... clean up on aisle 10, bring out the combs.
Thank you, Trey.
Oh my God. Hey, you know what? I could be messy when I need to be. Listen, y'all are not wrong. Let me clean it up.
That is the worst. We sounded like we were trolling. You sounded serious. Amber, go for it.
Okay. Trey said, I'm not getting caught up in this. Y'all got catching me on it today. Okay, so if we're going to hit this from a biblical perspective, this is Kojo want to bring the Bible into it. We're going to hit this from a biblical perspective. The Bible states that husbands should love their wives as God loves the church. As we as believers know, God always loves us more than we love him. Our goal is to reach his level. We can never reach that level on earth. So if we're going to go that route, the man should actually, and I say in a way, love the woman more. I'm not talking about no weird lifetime stuff where y'all break up because he cheating and he following you to different spots and he all up in your bushes and he got you. We're not talking about that. We talk about clean, honest, no toxicity. Love. And I think it's for the fact of, unfortunately, when a woman loves a man more, men get comfortable. In my experience, they get comfortable. The flowers stop, the dinners stop, all the female friends they told you that they ain't got no more, they popping back up saying, oh, they understand me, we know each other all these years, yada yada yada. The foolishness kicks in when the men get comfortable. If the man loves you a little more, that's less likely to happen. I'm not saying it won't happen, because things happen, people change, but that's less likely. When you love the man more, and once again, I have no issue with women treating their man good, but it's the fact of there needs to be a slight earning of that versus me just doing it just because I'm head over heels in love with you and I don't think I can do no better and all this other stuff. That rhetoric is not healthy. There needs to be a give and take. It does not need to all be one-sided. And I think men want stuff to be one-sided. I think Black was joking a bit, but I do think some men actually believe I provide. I ain't got to love you. If I want somebody to provide, I can get on welfare. I don't need you for that. Stop playing with me.
Whoa.
I need a job, welfare. There's ways to get money. Stop playing with me. I don't need. That's not what that's about. It's the fact of knowing how to treat people properly. Treat me the way you would want somebody to treat your sister, your mama, your auntie, your nieces, your cousins. Treat me how you would want to be treated. It needs to be equal.
Thank you, Amber. I appreciate that. Sammy Sam, you telling me? I know she was not with the. She says she's not with the trolling. Tell us, Sam. Should women love men more?
I want the leader of my family to give me everything more. And love is one of it. If you're going to lead me, you must lead me in love first. Okay? So you're not going to be no second-handed leader. So for all of you gentlemen that talk about what I heard y'all talk about, if you don't want to be a leader, tell us and we will lead, which a lot of women has been doing anyway. I want a man that love me more. I want the man to love me so much that he's going to want to go ahead and propose and marry me and shower me with that love. I'm not going to go and run after a man for him to propose and love me. Someone mentioned the whole cooking and stuff. I know it was a dig at me, but what I can say is that a loving man can also cook if I'm not going to cook. You can do it too for me sometimes. Let's just, I wanted to bring an example of something I've read a long time before. In situations where a man is sick with cancer, there's 98% chances of their wife to stay with them. But if it's the opposite, I think it was around like 40% men that would stay, which means that women are capable of loving their husband way more than they are. So obviously the whole providing stuff that Curry was talking about is not enough. I need you to love me a little bit more. And women are known to, in general, be more sensitive and will care better of that love than a man ever can, based on today's society. So based on today's society, I would prefer whoever I am with to love me more. And if you cannot love me more, we will not be together. That's it for me.
Okay. Appreciate it, Sam. Precious.
Hey everybody.
Hey, Precious, you right?
Y'all was doing some gaslighting, when y'all. First and foremost, I don't think y'all really want to be loved more. I think y'all want to be respected more. For me, in my experience, when we love more, there is a lot more mistreatment that happens to us when we love more. And I don't think y'all view that point. We lose ourselves loving y'all more. And that's tragic for us to do. I'll never put myself in a situation where I'm loving a man more ever again. Like, at this age, he gonna have to pull out all the stops. I need to see all the kind of love that he got to give for me. Like Sam said, like, if a man loves you, he's gonna do for you. It's not a one-sided situation. It's not you gonna do this or you gonna do that. No. I just honestly think y'all don't want to do a lot of the time the work. Y'all leave a lot of the work up to the woman in the relationship. And that's why we do leave. Because the bulk of the relationship is on us. And I don't think y'all consider that either. That's all I got.
Appreciate it, Precious. Dum. Good seeing you again, baby. You all right?
Hey. Yeah,
that's good.
I'm good. So, I think y'all are on some tonight, all of y'all men, because what in the world? I think that men should, I feel that really they should love us a little bit more, particularly because we have more to lose. Especially if we want to have kids. Y'all come in loving less, wasting all our time, and then we 36 plus childless. Yeah, I think we have more to lose in that aspect. So we need to be sure.
Okay. No, I hear you. Now, listen, look, we were trolling, but I think what's really important is I saw some of your faces and some of the comments when we were trolling. It's not nice when someone says that you should love them more, is it? This is what we were saying. When we started saying, listing the things that, you know what, we would get from you when you love us more, It wasn't nice. And this is the point we were trying to make on Sunday. I know most of you got it, so I'm not trying to come at anybody. It's for anybody that was new. Most of you were here on Sunday, so you guys got it. But I think it showed straight away when the men decided to come collectively and said, well, we need to be loved more. The women were like, wait, hold a minute. We do this, and then. We're like, well, that's how we felt. Because we do. We're not those men out here doing trash stuff. So we feel it. And you feel it because you felt like you do enough in a relationship. I feel like I do enough in a relationship. So when women collectively tell us that, I think a man should love us more, they think it's okay. And I'm saying, no, we let's say the same thing to them and see what happens. And suddenly when you're in a different role, it's not so funny anymore. It's not so cute because you know how painful it can be. And it's funny because I think Sam was saying it was interesting when he was making the point was exactly what we were talking about yet on Sunday, which was the woman was saying that when we said about loving a person a bit more, they said that we went to a position where we were making the other person not love us at all. That's similar to what Sam was kind of doing. It's like, well, if you love us, then the ladies went straight to the whole maddest point was, well, if we love you a bit more, then you do X, Y, and Z, and it's mad. Why did you go to the extreme? The same way we went to the extreme. Because we all know when someone loves you more than the other person, it becomes a problem. Major problem, which is why we're looking for that mutuality in this conversation, especially when it comes to loving each other. But I don't want to talk too much because I spoke on Sunday and I had a lot to say. But Trey, you wanted to mop up the ground, bro. I hope you can mop it well because we got a big discussion to talk about today. So go on.
Whew. I was gonna set fire to gaslight a lot of this mess we're talking about right here, but I'm gonna calm down. I'm gonna pull it back for a second, just a little bit. No, don't go away, Dom. Come back. Please come back. Listen. Should men love their women more? Funny thing. At one point in time, I thought that was the right way to go. Why? Because I listened to some of my aunts, my older aunts that are all married. I feel like, well, I think they know what they're talking about to a certain extent. Then I finally went through my journey in marriage and a few relationships, and I quickly realized, oh no, that don't work. Because then I had to open my eyes, look at my eyes. So, well, if it's not working for me, why is it working for them? Because they're not practicing that same thing. My uncles didn't love them more at all, yet they're still married to them. Here's the key. It should always be reciprocal as possible. Your relationship, your love, everything that you share, it should be reciprocal. It's never going to be 100% either way. It's going to ebb and flow. It's going to seesaw. But it should always be reciprocal. Case in point, when I was married, I thought, you know what? I should give them all. I'm married now. I love the woman I was with. I knew I was not only expressing, but acting like I loved her more. You know what happened? And it was unintentional. Not saying women are bad, this and that third, but I think this just happens to human beings because men do it to women too, a lot. When women love more. You know what happened? I started to notice that I was becoming unappreciated. The respect for me was not the same. Also, I started to notice that a little bit of emasculation was starting to come into the relationship. And it was unintentional. I have to put that forth. It was just unintentional. It was unintentional. Because I had to take a step back and look at it like, this is not the woman I married. She's not like this. She's not that person. Then I realized the situation we was being in and how she was responding to things that was happening. I said, you know what? Yeah. And it slowly led to our downfall. Funny thing was, because it was unintentional, she didn't realize what was happening or what she lost until it was over. Then she went, oh crap. She took some accountability and saw what her mistakes was. Because we had to have this talk. It was years later, but we had a serious talk about what happened in our marriage. Because she didn't realize what I was trying so hard to do for her, and she took advantage of it or didn't appreciate it as it was going on. Then she went, oh crap, I messed up. This is where I messed up in. Where I messed up was I should have said something a hell of a lot sooner instead of just sitting there and taking it because I thought I should love her more anyway. It's a bad trap to fall into. It would never work out. I'm telling you. It'll last for a while. You might can float it along for a while, but at some point in time, you may unintentionally hurt your partner because while they're giving their all for you, I guarantee you, you're not going to do the same return. You're just going to take, and take until they have nothing to give anymore. And now you just broke your partner. And this could be a man or a woman. It can happen. I think the reason why women have this mindset so much is because it has happened to them historically, maybe over the years. And they're tired of it. You should be. You should be. But don't go so far to the other side because that's going to harm you too. You're only putting yourself in a bad position down the road because, yeah, you may think, yeah, he should live more. He's going to provide for me, give me this, and that, third. I'm telling you, that man is going to, after a while, he's going to look at his situation. He's going to look at it like, man, I've been giving, and what have I really received in return? He's going to take inventory because most men are very logical. At some point in time, they're going to sit back and look at what's going on. All right, I'm doing this. I'm providing this. I hopefully am expressing enough emotions to, make her feel love. I'm doing my best here. What am I getting back?
Appreciate it, Trey. Samson, go for it. Yep.
I heard you, Trey, but it seems that your explanation seems a little imbalanced, where you really gave a lot, and maybe the person, as you said, without doing it on purpose, started doing things that made you feel unappreciated. But in my instance, I would say I would prefer to be with somebody that I give you a lot, but you just give me a little more. We're both giving, but you give me a little more as a man, as the leader, So not necessarily that it's like imbalanced that way, but I do feel like it's good when in a couple, the leader of the family have a little bit more fear of losing his family.
I get you, and I actually understand that analogy, but I still would say that's an imbalance within itself as well. Because at some point in time, he's going to look and say, wait a minute, I've still been the one giving here.
You're the leader. Shouldn't you give more?
That's a
Wait,
whole...
Before you respond, Trey, let our ladies jump in there. So, ladies, as Sammy said, men are the leaders. They should give more. And that
I'm just saying, I'm talking for me, please. I'm not taking for a woman, but...
No. You're good. Don't worry. We appreciate your point of view. So I just want to see if the ladies will agree with that as well. Maybe they also agree.
I think the thing is, men and women, we show our love differently. We show our love differently in a general manner, is what I'm saying. Of course, you have exceptions to that rule, but normally it's shown differently. My last relationship, at first, my boyfriend loved me more. He came from another state to come see me, long distance, taking me out to eat, different stuff like that, doing stuff that a lot of times men see that as their way of showing their interest. You know what I'm saying? Then as time went on, it began to slowly switch. He had some financial issues. The burden started to fall on me. Him having the financial issues, I feel like it changed his personality a bit. And you started seeing things change a lot in the relationship. By the time we broke up, I was actually the one giving more and doing everything. And it was draining. It was but once again, as a woman, I grew up in a very traditional, I grew up in church. I grew up under a more traditional mindset. As a result, me having to take the reins of the situation, it was very uncomfortable for me because that's not normally how I show love. Me showing love is, I'm a person, I love to communicate. I love to talk to people. I love to, hang out. We spend time together, that type of stuff. Whereas men, a lot of times I felt they show love a little more differently. It's more about what they do for you to a certain extent. So it comes down to a difference in love languages. How a woman will show that she loves a man more is different than how a man will show he loves a woman more. And I think that's where it gets confused. It's not going to be shown the same way 9 times out of 10.
That's fair.
Can I just throw something out there real quick?
Okay.
Like, why don't we spend time like trying to outlove one another instead of like who's loving who more? Like, I think if we focus more on trying to outlove each other, that'll create a great balance in the relationship. I think a lot of the times these things take negative tones. And if you change the narrative and make it positive, hey, babe, I was thinking about you. So this is what I did for you today. Nah, babe, I got you. This is what I did for you. You know, I think we need to change how we view certain things and stop making it a negative tone and who doing this and who doing that. Why does it always have to be a battle? You know what I mean? Like, stop. We got to stop making everything a battle. That's why we struggle so much with communicating with each other. Because we always trying to figure out who had the hardest struggle. Okay, let's agree that we both all had it hard. How can we figure this thing out together?
Go for it, Dom.
That's a great point, Precious. I agree. It shouldn't be a battle. But I had a thought back when Trey was talking. So I'm wondering if you're loving the person more. Like, I wonder if are you loving this person the way they need to be loved or that they want to be loved? Because if you're not, then it's really not effective. So I think that that's something that matters as well. Like, how does your person need to be loved? And are you doing it? Are you loving them like the right way?
Never love someone on your own terms. You love them on their terms and vice versa. So to your question, yeah, I asked her what was her love language. How did she want to be loved? I learned her. And I gave her what I thought she said she needed. But like I just said, on the flip side of it, I wasn't getting it in return. So I was left the one suffering. That's why I said it should be reciprocal. It's never going to be equal.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's never going to be the same because we love differently from women. You have to learn what your man appreciates and what he values as love and try to provide that for him. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, so, and vice versa for us, for women. But this is where it comes to break down the communication. We got to learn how to communicate effectively. Mm-hmm. Like, you can't go off of what you think that he should you can't go off of what you think he should appreciate what type of love you're giving. It doesn't work like that. You should have asked him, how do you like to be loved? And see if you can provide that love from that angle. And vice versa, because he should be asking you too. You know what I'm saying? But that's usually the breakdown where we bump heads at. We're not asking each other, not the important question, the right question. So you can get a better understanding of what we're talking about.
So just I think it's quite interesting actually from both men and women, right? So when everyone tells their story about maybe potentially being involved in a situation where the person loved the other person more, and the reason why I was trolling at the very beginning, kind of coming back around again, because if women are hearing this from elder women about how you enter into a relationship, how can you honestly give me the love that I need, really? Because if you're coming with a mindset that I have to love you more, you'd have to know that I love you more. That means there's already an imbalance. Because if there was only a small amount, you would not be able to feel it. Which means if we're really saying that women are coming into a relationship already with the mindset that a man should love me more, you're already coming with an imbalanced mindset into a relationship. Because how are you gonna know? How are you gonna know he loves you more? How are you gonna know he loves you more?
His behavior.
If you feel it, what imbalance? Go for it, Sam. Sorry, go for it. Sorry.
No, I was just responding. His behavior will show that he loves you more. Because in 2023, when a man really
Mhm.
likes you, it shows. A man that really likes you is afraid to lose you, and he acts like it.
So are you not afraid to lose your husband?
I am, but he's afraid to lose me. That's a fact. He's more afraid to
So
lose me than I am me to him.
so then you
Because
understand
as a
why. Oh,
woman
go for it,
living
sis.
in 2023, with the women's behave, a smart woman will always have, you're gonna have a plan, not a plan B, but you're going to think in a way that, okay, you've seen things happening around you where it's often men acting up. The reason why so many women divorce is because men don't act right, and they wake up and they decide to leave because they'd rather be single than be in an unhappy marriage. That's why women divorce more, because in general, marriage, really the man enjoys the more for it. And when I say the man in 2023 enjoys the more out of marriage than a woman can. A woman leaves marriage because she realizes she can do better on her own than in the marriage because she's with somebody that's giving her a headache, right? That's why they leave. So in 2023, a man that loves you more and that really care about your relationship will act like it matters, and there's mistake that they will really try not to make because they know that there's a certain fear in them that if they make certain type of mistake, there's big chances that this lady will not stay, and losing your family will not be worth it. So in 2023, it's very easy to know when a man loves you a little more, and it's not always a negative thing. And I feel like personally, I think there's way more women that are willing to be serious in relationship than men. So men comes into that advantage knowing that a lot of women are willing to be serious. So that's an advantage they already have. So you knowing that, and then you're going to come and act up, it's going to show. That's it for
Okay,
me.
so I think and this is good because this is kind of the conversation the men were having, and I think you're kind of proving that a lot of what's the stuff that we said on Sunday. Women assume that they come into a relationship well ready for a marriage or a relationship. You speak to a lot. I said you can go to the manosphere graveyard and you'll find a lot of men there who feel like you guys are not great. I come to the woman's sphere and they will tell you a lot of men are not great either. So to say that women, because and this is going back to kind of what Sean's point was on Sunday, which is really great. Is now we can have a good conversation about it. Is that it sounds like women are saying they're superior when it comes to relationships, but the reality is if you're overgiving, and the reason why you're afraid of a man not loving you more is because you're afraid that he will disrespect you, not do you right. Then I have to ask a question: are you really good at relationships, or is your discernment off? It's got nothing to do with me loving you more. If you're choosing people that can't love you correctly, is that about a man loving you more, or you can't choose correctly? Do you see what I'm saying? So if you come with that mindset, that's what I'm kind of go for it.
So the thing is that people are full of surprises. You can be with somebody that at first act right, and then later down the line, you realize that he's not the person that you thought he was. So it's not even about choosing, really, Kojo, to answer you. Like I always say, being in a healthy relationship nowadays is really just a blessing. You can do everything right and it still doesn't work, so for me personally, I just feel like an healthy relationship is a blessing. You can enter in a relationship that might be toxic, but hopefully eventually the both of you are going to work toward having a healthy relationship, and that's why, I don't know, someone mentioned Will Smith and Jada, and talking about how people were looking up to them and now they're not looking up to them. Those people they want to stay with each other. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter what we think. They want to stay with each other, and if they don't, they will separate anyway. So for me, I feel like I don't care about what other people are doing. I just know that a healthy relationship is a blessing and it's something that you have to work on. And I will never come and say, oh well, you have to choose this way. People lie a lot, and people can lie for years.
Okay, it's my final point, and I'm going to pass the buck on someone else. So the only reason why I was tackling what you were saying is because I was trying to take the thing to its natural conclusion. I think sometimes the reason why, and I see it in the chat sometimes, right? They'll say it's just a phrase, but it's not just a phrase. It's a mentality. And that's why I was trying to hit it quickly and try to bring alignment to it. Because if you say that you come into a situation thinking that you're already better, because that's what you're saying, you're already better at relationships. So you need us to catch up because already you know that my gender is trash. So you have to choose somebody who loves you more. You've already got a superior mindset. That's what I'm trying to tell you, that I'm already better at relationships. We need you to catch up so you can get to the same place that we're at. So choose somebody who loves you more, then they will catch up. That means you have already a superior mindset when you come into a relationship. That is a level of pride when you get into a relationship. So that already for us is putting us on a back burner. We're already on a back foot already. Because if you're being told that from elder women and you're coming into a relationship, what does that do to the relationship? Do you see what I'm saying? So it's not just a phrase of, hey, you get you a man that just loves it, and it doesn't have any impact. It has an impact because it makes you feel like you're superior when it comes to relationships. And then it makes it also look at, well, these men ain't great. So just grab the one that loves you more because he gonna at least treat you good. And that's where it came from. Right. And that's what I'm saying, that for us as men, if we started saying the same thing, man, them just cheat. This is what, because that's what we get on manosphere. That's the same thing they get. They go, man, them just, you know what? You need to get a girl that adores you, that worships you. Because if you don't, she's gonna cheat on you. She's gonna steal your money. She's gonna divorce you and leave you. You know what I mean? And she's gonna take the kids as well from you. That's exactly what they talk about on the other side, right? So when that preaching gets spoken of in that particular way, it comes with a mindset. You get me? So I know a lot of women in the chat are saying that they don't see it, but you're not. That's because you're not listening to what I'm saying to you. Take it to its natural conclusions. What I'm taking it to. I'm not saying that the phrase on its own. It comes with a mindset. If you think about it, but I want to get one of the ladies to respond. I'll get one of the guys to respond as well because I've spoken quite a bit, and I appreciate you, Sam, for that little dialogue. One of the ladies who would like to respond, Amber, Precious, Dominique, anyone gonna say? Amber, okay, Amber first, and I'll let one of the ladies go again.
Yes, I'll respond. So what I was going to say is this. One thing that Kojo said that I have to agree with was the fact of, does our picks play a part? And I'll explain why I agree with Kojo on that. Me, I have been in one serious relationship. I'll be 28 in a couple of months. Before that, a bunch of, I guess you call it situationships, stuff that never really fulfilled itself. After my last relationship, I had to sit and take a look at, why are my picks always falling to pieces? Whether it doesn't fulfill itself because they don't feel the same about me, they don't take me seriously, yada, yada, yada. What I realized, and somebody said it in the chat, I think it was Empress that said it, was I had a lot of bad trauma due to my relationship with my father. As a result, when I would see red flags, I would not pay attention to them. My last boyfriend, there was red flags. Everything that caused our breakup, I saw a piece of it in the beginning, but I ignored it because I loved him and I wanted it to work because I was worried about being by myself. I feel we as women, sometimes we have to look at our picks and realize how our picks correlate to maybe some healing we need to do. You are not going to attract a healed man who can quote unquote love you properly if you yourself are not healed. The two do not attract each other. You have to deal with yourself to be able to attract that. And if you don't, you're going to a lot of times keep attracting the same mess over and over again. I know the movies will make you think that a broken person will attract a healed person, all these kind of romantic comedies. That's not always accurate. A lot of times that's not accurate. You attract what you are. You have to look at, why am I attracting this, that, and the third? All the dudes you deal with do the same stuff. That makes me have to look at, who do they have in common? You.
Okay. I have a question, Kojo. So
Yep, go for it.
are you saying that because, like, I was one of those girls who mother told her, hey, a man is supposed to love you more. So are you saying that because we were told that going into a relationship, our mindset is that we're better than you because we're expecting a greater love from a man?
So I was taking on board what the women were saying from last Sundays, which was added to that. they were saying the reason why they were told this is because, again, that men aren't great at relationships, or they don't if you don't love. I mean, even when I asked Sam, she told us, and yourself, when you told us a story, you told us immediately when the man doesn't love you, he doesn't do X, Y, and Z. So I was saying that if someone tells you that you should find a man that loves you more, and I was taking back what happened on Sunday, which was that women tend to love more and care more, it puts you in a superior mindset that, okay, if I have to choose somebody that loves me more, it means that we are less. That's why I said that whenever you put a more, there's a less. You can't have more without less. So we spoke about this on Sunday. It's not about more, it's about show. So if you say someone's more, it means the other person's less. That's why I said about superior mindset. Because if I say I have more than you, what does that mean for you?
What do you have more of? That's what I would ask.
but what does it mean?
I'm
though?
not
If I say
going
I
to
have
view
more money
myself
than you,
as less because you feel like you have more. That's just me, though.
But if I tell you I have more than you, I have more money than you, what does that mean for you?
That you're assuming that I have less.
Thank you. So the premise is, if you say I need to show you more love, it means we have less. That's what I'm trying to say. So it puts us already on the back foot. We have to catch up to you. That's the point I'm trying to make. So whenever you say more, it has to be that the other thing is less. That is a natural equation of things. We all did math, so we know the more means there's a less on the other side. So whenever we try to make it fluffy and be like, when I say more, it doesn't mean more. No, then don't say more. Just say show me, rather than saying more, because that puts you in a particular Venn diagram in that particular answers. But I've gone too long on your question. Sorry, apologies.
So you would prefer us to use the word different?
No, I would say listen, if you're saying, let me not go too far, because I know I've spoken a lot about this, but I said about keeping it short, that you should be saying, listen, I need a man to show me his love, and he should lead in love. That's it. There's no more, there's no less. You know what I mean? There's no more, there's no less. That's literally it. That's what I would say.
Leading in love means more. Sorry to cut, but you're leading.
It doesn't mean that.
You're bringing.
Leading doesn't mean you have more. The two are not even in the same, and the semantics are really important.
Yeah, really leading important. Has to do with direction. I feel like leading has to do with direction, but I get what you're saying. I understand how the perspective could be, hey, because we're saying, hey, here's a situation where we're saying, hey, I'm starting off, I need you to love me. I'm expecting a man to love me more. I see where that is a negative tone to any beginning of a relationship. Now, do I agree with you about, like Amber said, the picker? Yeah, I completely agree that people need to go into relationship as whole, healed individuals. Two broken people don't work. You get a lot of chaos and confusion. But that's it from me.
Who's next on the list? Sorry.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and go.
Black, you go for it.
Yeah. So to be honest with you, I think that, we talk about who loves more, men or women. I think that the love needs to be placed better. I think a lot of us come into relationships not loving the person, but just loving what they can do for you. You come to a relationship with a mindset of why do you love this man, or why do you love this woman? It's usually because of something they're doing for you. Oh man, he takes care of the bills. A lot of women out here are in situations where they're not really attracted to the man, or they don't really like what things that the man has going on for himself, but he takes care of them financially, so they stick around. So you love the things that are being done for you, but we got to get back to a point or to a place where we love the person. We love the character of the person. And I think if we can do that, we'll find more success in relationships. The marriages that end in divorce, they end in divorce because something stopped, something changed that man or that woman was doing before that you fell in love with, but it wasn't their character. If it's their character should always be there. It's going to be standard. So in my opinion, when it comes to loving more, it's what are you loving? Are you loving my character? Or you love what I can do for you? Because if I ask someone, what they want, why you love them? That's what's going to come out. It's those things that they do for them. So for me, I can't really say if a man or woman should love each other more. I don't like the whole more thing, but I will say that if the love is mutual and it's about the character of that person, that's a relationship that can last longer than what you can do for them. Also, if you come into a relationship with the whole back and forth of challenging each other as far as the women do this more or men do this less, if that's the mindset, you're looking into a relationship for the wrong reasons. So I just don't think that we should be looking at it like that as far as being combative, as far as what women do better than men, what men don't do as good as women, and this, that, and the other. That's why we're in this place right now. It's always the better than, the less than. So now we're talking about who loves each other more or less, and why should someone love each other more or less. It should be about who that person is in hard things. That's all I want to say.
Thank you very much, Black. Who's next? Samuel, you wanted to jump in and say your piece? And I'll get one of the ladies as well to respond after. Sorry.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, sorry, Samuel. Sorry, Samuel,
Oh,
not Sammy. Sorry, Samuel. Apologies, Sammy. Apologies.
Yeah, sorry. Sorry, I don't have my camera. My camera's not working. Go get that fixed in the new week. But do you know what? This is a very annoying title of conversation, because the reason why is because I hate this. I wouldn't say narrative, but it's the reason, like, where the world is now today is why we're talking about this. Now, I'm a born again Christian, so I'm gonna go from the Bible. The Bible standpoint of view of what a man should do is love your wife as Christ loved the church. Now, what does that mean? That Christ died for the church. Christ died for it. We as a man, we should be putting our all into our marriage as God wants us to do it. Now, I've stated that. I was on Twitter, and this is why the world is so warped. I was on Twitter and I saw this tweet and I thought, this sums up marriage, dating, whatever, to a T. One woman tweeted out that when men describe a wife, they describe a slave. Then another woman quote tweeted it and said, when women describe a husband, they describe a simp. And I thought that grasped what is in today's world with marriage and dating. It's what you can do for each other. What can you do? What can you do for me? What can you do for you? You're trying to get one up on each other. What can you bring to me that is going to benefit me? It doesn't matter about you. It matters about me. And this is the whole conversations of who should love more and stuff like that. And I agree. That title of who should love more, men should love more than women, women should love more than men, I think it's wrong. That's just wrong. For me personally, it's just wrong. Because what it does, and culture, and I thank you for explaining that, is that when you say more, there's a less. It's as simple as that. When there's more, there is a less. So when you really and truly look at this, when it gets to who should love more, it shouldn't be a thing who should love more. I agree with especially what Precious said. Why can't we just be competing with each other of how much we can, love each other? Why, like, and I'll give you one example. I was dating one woman one time, and I'm not a type of guy that gets many gifts. She was one of the first people that gave me a gift. Do you know what that made me do? It made me want to give her how many other gifts to her. That little gift that she gave me was so thoughtful that I wanted to give her so many gifts. And then she was doing the same thing for me. You see, like, it was like a friendly, competitive thing with each other, that we were appreciating each other to a point where it was lovely. In today's world, we're doing the opposite. Like, we got the manosphere saying, oh, no, don't get into marriage because it's going to ruin your careers and stuff like that. When we got women on the other side that's saying, don't get into marriage because you're giving your all and you're losing yourself and stuff like that. And it's so negative. It's just so negative. We don't look at the positive. We don't look at the positive at all. But yeah, sorry, I'm gonna let someone else speak.
No, I appreciate it, Cap. Thank you. Shawn, you're next, and then Domo, and then I think Sammy after. So yeah, Shawn, you're next, and then Dom, and then Sammy, and then I'll be open field season. Go for it.
Yeah, I just don't understand what's the pushback when we are contesting that. When you say, when the women are saying we need to love them more because they go through all of this long suffering, they tolerate all of men's nonsense, men are more likely to fill in the blanks, right? All of those are comments that have been said, not by everybody, but that's some of the rationale for why a woman should be loved more by her man. So that in and of itself, I just don't understand. That implies that men are at a deficit when it comes to relationships. Like does that sound like we're on equal footing with women? Like when a man is described in that way, it's saying women are better at loving relationships. So we're pushing back against that and saying we don't think that's the case. Yes, there are some things from a nurturing standpoint that women are good at, but we do absolutely not believe that women are just inherently better than men at relationships. And we've got plenty of examples to show it, because look, men are more logical. We've talked about that. We can debate it, whatever, right? Women lean more into their emotions, right? And lead with that. So each side, and men can at times lack in emotional intelligence, right? So sounds like on both sides there's opportunities, right? So I just really don't understand why we take these narratives and we pull these adages and we think that they work. And just because you see somebody married, trust me, I've been there. Trey's been there. I don't know if anybody else on the panel has been married but is no longer. Look, that don't mean anything. That doesn't give your argument credibility because you say, oh, I did it. It's working in my marriage. Yeah, marriages are every day, right? And we know what the divorce rate looks like. So yes, your marriage could be in effect today, but tomorrow, next week, next year, that can change. So don't think that you have the recipe because you've taken some idiom, adage, or some piece of outdated information, and you're going to just carte blanche apply that everywhere. It doesn't work. And then to just finally land my plane, this adage about men being leaders and meaning that we need to love more, that is your interpretation, right? Because at work, I'm a leader, right? I lead people. I manage people. I don't do more. My job is different, but there's people underneath me that do, and to a certain extent, some of them feel like they work more than me, right? But the work that we do is different. The work that I do is different. There's some overlap, but I'm not doing everything that they do. But as a leader, I bear the responsibility. Yes. So if something goes wrong underneath my org chart, yeah, I have to bear the weight of that responsibility because they're underneath my management, right? So that's the responsibility that we're talking about, and the duty. I have a duty to help them. I have a duty to support and coach them. And sometimes that means sacrifice, but it doesn't mean I'm doing more than them. My boss doesn't do more than me. We just happen to do different things. And in some instances, it's slightly less because that's what I'm there for, to pick up the slack, to do the certain things that she doesn't need to do. So I'll land my plane there.
Cool. I appreciate it. I think Dom's doing something right now. Okay, so Dom, you there? I was gonna say, go for it, babe.
Yeah, so there were so many points made, and I hope that when I speak, I touch on something that was said. So,
Take your time, babe. You're good.
um, so being told from a younger age that I should go after someone or be with someone who likes me more. For me, I always interpreted my aunt who used to tell me that I felt that she wanted me to be safe and secure, and so my interpretation is that, well, at that time, is to be with someone who loves me more so that there's a level of security. Like, you know, that at the very least, he's probably not going to go anywhere because you know that he loves you more. He's showing it, he's doing all these things, and that's great. It's a great thing. But also, I have learned that for me, loving more was tied to like attachment issues. Like I needed someone to love me more because I needed to know, like I needed that validation. I needed that assurance. I just needed to know that this person is attached to the hip. He's not going anywhere. And now I understand that it's likely a trust issue. Like you don't trust that that person is as he is enough in what he brings to the relationship. I think that trust has a big major part in all of this, and that if we go into relationships trusting one another, of course after we get to that stage, you trust me, I trust you, then we'd be more open to just loving the way we would love anybody. But that's my take.
Thank you, Dom. Love that. Sam?
Like Sam, okay, that's me this time.
Yeah, sorry, Sammy. Yeah, my bad, Sammy. Sorry.
Okay. So I heard everybody, Mr. Shawn sent some dick to me. Or was it for me?
Oh, you thought he was coming for you? I don't think he meant you, personally.
I don't know. I'm asking.
In reference to what?
To
You said about I know what you mean. Go for it, Sam.
No. Tell him, Kojo. It's cool.
I think
I
when
was
you said
wondering.
about just because you've been married, it did sound like it might be. I knew you weren't going at her.
No. Absolutely.
I knew you weren't going
not.
at her, but I can
I
understand.
wasn't sure. That's why I asked.
No.
Because my response would have been tailored. Oh no! I mean, listen. I stand by what I said, which I do want my partner to love me a little bit more in the context that we both still gives. I don't care if there's less or more in the instances that we're both giving each other what we're looking for. One thing that I realized in this group is that you have to be very specific in the words that you use, and maybe I'm not being as specific, so I'm going to make it plain for me. In the context that you're both giving each other what you're looking for, I still want my husband or whoever partner I am with to give me a little bit more, because as the chosen leader of my family, I'm talking for me because I know everybody is not thinking like that. But I am the type of woman that likes to be with a man that leads her. I love that. I like it. I don't mind it. But I want to be spoiled. And in that context, I would like for my husband or my partner or whoever I am with to do a little more to show me the example, and I'm going to follow, but he's still going to give me a little more. So I hope that I clarify. I stand by what I said. In the context of 2023, life has not been fair and things are not equal. So I'm not going to come into this discussion acting like everything is equal this is not what's going on. It works. The women I have seen per experience that have been with men that really show that they care a little bit more than them end up in happier marriage than women that don't. And as a woman, I want to go where it works. So I stand by that. Even though everything you all said, a lot of you said, especially the gentlemen, I understand, but you cannot choose equality when in every other thing you're okay with having the upper end. And now that we're saying, as a woman, some of us say we do want to be with a man that like us a little bit more. Why is it a problem? It's only a problem because you don't feel like you're going to win from it. You don't want to do a little bit more work. That's why we're going back and forth. It's not a competition. Some men want to be in a situation where they're doing a little bit more for their women that are spoiled and that are also going to take care of them. I'm not talking about it in the concept of imbalances or strong imbalances. Some people are able to live that type of relationship and are happy, and it works. That was it.
It's quite. I appreciate Sam. It's quite interesting that you said that, because you said you need him to fear that you could leave. In perfect love, there's no fear. So if you're telling me that's a healthy way of doing things, then we are on the wrong foot. We are on the wrong foot. If we're talking about love and it being healthy, if you're starting on a block where there's fear, that's not healthy. If we're to go by that premise, just going by that premise.
I'm going to respond to you, even though I don't agree with what you're saying. If this is what it takes for a man to not do some messed up stuff, I accept what you're saying.
That's what we're saying to you. There is no guarantee that he won't still do the very thing.
I did say that I don't agree. But for me, I'm just looking at the finish end. You know what I mean? I don't necessarily agree with you, because this is not the mindset that I personally would go into in a relationship in. But if this is what it takes, I don't have time. As long as I get what I want, you know what I mean? What I'm trying to say, Kojo, is that some of us don't think as deep. I'm not thinking as deep. I just want my man to really value what we have and show it to me.
The only reason why I'm saying this is because oftentimes men don't often communicate how they feel about situations. So I'm saying this to you to bring highlight. The last time we had a conversation, we had the same kind of similar conversation. I said some of the things you were doing, we had to bring it to you because you didn't realize. And I said sometimes women honestly think things are not deep. This is deep. What you explained was very deep. You explained it in a very deep way. You thought about it. You've considered it.
Can someone mute? I'm sorry.
Sorry. Yeah. You've considered it. You've thought about it. You've pondered upon it, and then you've acted upon it. How can it not be deep? Do you get what I'm saying? Because now what it sounds like to me is that you're deflecting that point and saying it's not deep, but it's deep because you've pondered upon it. You've thought about it, and then you've acted upon it. How deep does it need to be before it's deep? Do you know what I'm saying?
I'm not acting on anything. If a man thinks that he loves me enough, that he cares about the relationship, that he wants to do everything that he needs to do to not be in a situation that is going to mess it up, that's on him. I didn't make him be that way. He chose to love me that much. I don't have that much power that I'm going to manipulate a man to think that way about me.
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead. It's fine.
I'm not saying you're not going to do anything. I'm saying, again, I don't think you're realizing you are running with a mantra that says, I need a man to love me a bit more, which means you would have chosen somebody who loves a bit more. So it did affect you. It's plain its consequence in your life because you've chosen that way. You didn't choose someone who was opposite.
In a positive context, I think that where we disagree is that I feel like some of you think that it has to be in balance. Does it matter if you're above doing your best?
How would you know the person does more without an imbalance? How would you know that?
For who? Positive for who?
What did you say?
Positive for who?
For the both of you. For the both of you. So in your partnership, your man asks you what he wants, you give him what he wants, and you tell him what you want, he gives you what he wants, but he's doing it a little more. You both give each other what you want.
Go for it, Precious. Sorry.
Okay, I want to ask the men a question because I kind of agree with Sam to a certain extent. Like, y'all want to lead in all the other areas in life, but don't want to lead in this situation. So what are you afraid of? Because you said it was no fear. So what is it?
Mandem, do you want to answer that question? Would like to take that back on?
Yeah, I don't have a problem with loving my partner. There's no fear in that. I will do what it takes to make sure that she's happy. make sure she feels satisfied, and that's it. But as far as saying, I'm going to go to the ends of the earth to do so when it's not necessary, I can still do what I do and she's still satisfied, then that's fine. Why is there that need to feel that I have to push myself to such a high limit to make you feel like, okay, this is the man for me? Why isn't that what I'm doing for you? You're enjoying the experience, you're enjoying everything that's going along with it. Why isn't that just enough for you? Like, is it a point where enough will never be enough? At what point will it be enough?
I'm not looking at it in that aspect. I'm just asking, like, from a standpoint of, because y'all brought up leadership, right? Leadership. So from a leadership standpoint, if you're the head of that household, why aren't you out? Why aren't you leading her to a relationship of love?
Yeah, that can be done without using the word more. So that's what I'm saying. That what I'm doing for her, she's satisfied, she's good with it, but it's not more to me. It's just me being me. But you want to have a sense of it being more. I'm saying, why is that a necessary thing when me being myself has been enough for you?
I got you.
And also, just quickly, leadership.
Oh, wait, before you go, Sam, sorry,
Okay.
it's Amber, and you can go after.
Can y'all hear me? I had put my AirPods in to try to cancel out some of the background
baby.
noise. Okay.
Hold on, baby.
Take it out the settings. Okay. Hello? 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 Can anybody hear me?
We hear you.
Okay. Forgive me. I had tried to put the AirPods in to cancel out the background noise, and obviously AirPods don't like StreamYard. But back to the conversation. So something Sammy Sam said that struck me was the word spoiled. I used to feel that way too. The fact of wanting the man to spoil me. The thing is this, if we look at spoiled from maybe more of a literal standpoint, when something spoils, it's normally because something is wrong with it and it typically tends to rot. It no longer is of value because some type of balance in it has gotten off. With that being the case, if there's too much spoiling on either side, that's going to always create an imbalance. And I understand what the men are saying, the fact of the word more, whether we like it or not, it always is going to invoke a feeling of, a lot of times, I'm not going to say always, a lot of times I feel like it invokes a feeling of people feeling as if they're being taken advantage of, or they're giving more than they're getting. And of course, words always have power, whether we like them or not. You can always say, you know what I mean, and the person's going to say, well, the words you use did not sit well with me. I think we have to change a little bit the narrative and honestly the technical semantics of how we're saying all this to be able to come to an agreement. Because at the end of the day, neither the man nor the woman wants to feel as if they have been played or taken advantage of. No one wants to feel as if they're being used or drained. That's either side. And I think that's where the conversation comes down to. I think both sides are like, if I give more, there's a chance you can use me up, throw away the key, and I have nothing left. And that's man and that's woman.
Go for it, Sam. Thank you, Amber.
Yeah, sorry. I forgot that Amber was going to speak next, so I do apologize, Amber. Can anybody tell me the definition of what agape love is?
That's unconditional.
Unconditional love. Cool. So when we're talking about love, there's different types of love, and I'm not going to go through all types of love, but agape love is what God has for us. Now, I believe that we should also have this in our relationships, but it ties in with what Amber says. Now, let's just say for a man to have this kind of love for a woman, in these days now, I feel like men do fear that if they give themselves more, and I think this is what the men have been saying, that word more, that they're giving themselves and then they're not getting much back from it. That's where the fear is. And I'm not talking about the men on this panel, I'm just talking about other men especially in the manosphere as well. Now, when we're talking about loving each other, things should be natural. It should not be forced. A lot of conversations today about this seems like it's forced. Well, I have to go and do this for him. I have to go do this for her, stuff like that. It's not natural. It's like, where is the love from the beginning? What did you get into marriage for? Did you get into marriage because, oh, this was the woman that you thought, oh, let me just settle down with her because that was what was there at the time? Or for the women, oh yeah, he just provided with what I needed. You have to get back to what are you actually doing this for? Seriously, what are you actually doing this for? And a lot of this conversation wouldn't come into the conversation because you guys are loving each other and nothing else matters. If you're doing things naturally, this conversation doesn't come. Do you get what I'm saying? This conversation doesn't come if you're doing things naturally. But yeah, I'll end on that.
Just to add quickly as well, because I know you touched on something which is really important. You talk about agape love, right? So that is really powerful. So agape love, if we talk about Ephesians 5 and talk about what Christ, not Ephesians 5, but if we talk about what Christ did on the cross, that would be agape love, right? Willing to lay down his whole entire life for us, love us anyway. I want to ask this question to the ladies. Would you expect any man for you to cheat on him, disrespect him, and tarnish him at any given time? Would you expect him to stay in a relationship? Would you want that man even? If you could trample upon him whenever you wanted, do whatever you wanted at any time.
I would.
No, right? Yeah. But yet we do that to God. We have our ways and we do it to God. You can't compare me to God. You know what I'm saying? You can't compare me to God. I do not have that in me to do what God does, where he can forgive you continuously, you know what I mean, in the moment. I can't. You know what I'm saying? So that scripture, Ephesians 5, where it talks about a man shall love his wife like Christ loved the church. It does not mean I am going to be like Christ to you in all the actual ways, because I cannot. When you start moving mad and you start cheating on me, well, you know what? Dom, it's the 5th time, but you know what? Christ forgave me, so I'm going to forgive you. And I believe by the 20th time, maybe the 21st, you will change your ways and you will love me and you won't cheat on me, right? No one expects that. So we can't correlate Christ and implant it or transpose it to a relationship all the way. That's what I was saying last time. There has to be a limit because we're only human beings. And agape love is really describing the love that God has for us and we have for God. But when we say we, it's not me. It's he that is in me that loves back. So I don't love God with my strength in terms of my actual physical strength. I love him back with my spirit. You understand? So of course, yes, I can love my mind and my heart and my soul, but we know how quickly that fades, baby. You know, we all been there where we done some madness. You know what I mean? But our spirit is never failing. It's never unfaithful. It's never fall into sin. It always wants to do the right thing, and it always will do the right thing. But the fleshly me, oh baby, I'm gonna do some things. Okay, I'm gonna do some things. So just to clear up that aspect for those who are Christians who are saying that, just wanted to make sure that was clear. So the spirit is in me, that is going to reflect that agape love back to God. But me personally, hey, if you cheat on me, what do you want me to do? You want me to just stand there and take it? You wouldn't even like me if I did that. You know what I mean? Like, this man, even does he love me if he can't love himself? You know, so we have just a slightly different way in that point. But let me let the ladies jump back in again, because you know it's good to hear from you guys.
I was just going to quickly say,
Okay.
Kojo, thank you for explaining it, because there was a lot of people in the chat that did not accept what I had literally said there. But we do quote this scripture a lot. And we're only human beings. I can love you, but I can love you from afar as well. So if you cheat on me, I can move away. I can leave, but I can still love you. Do you get what I'm saying? I can still have that love for you, but I'm leaving. I'm leaving. I forgive you and stuff like that, but I'm leaving. God did not want us to be a doormat. God did not want us to take abuse. That was not his intention. But yeah.
I think most of the time these days it's based on conditional love. Nobody is really loving unconditional. I think I expect the unconditional love for my kids, but going into a relationship, that's you would like for that to happen, but most of the time you don't really expect it.
Yeah, I think that the part that we keep coming back to, and I think that for those that perhaps weren't on the live between Saturday and yesterday, right? This is not that we are challenged with loving women. We definitely are in support of and agree wholeheartedly that you should love the woman that you're in a relationship with, right? Be it a relationship or marriage. So that's not the debate. It is the loving more and the notion that it can be felt, right? Because we clearly said, like, if we are loving each other and both looking to have a reciprocal relationship, then we're not going to be able to put our finger on who's loving who the most, right? Because we're both looking to love each other and moving in that same spirit, right? But if I can equate it, if I can feel it, and that's what I want, and the inherent notion of that is problematic. And what we also did is we showed that video from Stefan Speaks, and it just kind of went right in on some of the things that I was saying on Saturday, which is it lends itself to a false sense of security. And unfortunately, I know Sammy had to go, but one of the things that's what she was saying is if my man loves me more, he's going to act right. That's a false sense of security, because just because I love you more does not guarantee my behavior is going to be what it's like, what you want it to be all the time. It's not. And guess what? If you can feel that I love you more, at some point I'm going to feel it, and I'm going to want something from you. We are human beings, and we want to be loved. As much as you guys don't understand men, we want to be loved and respected, right? We don't love the way you love. We're not you, but at some point we're going to want to return. And when that return isn't met, then the men that you talk about so very often that are running ramshot and carrying on, he's going to show up, because I can feel that you think that I love you more, and that drives your behavior. So therein lies the issue, because it creates an imbalance. Any created imbalance in a relationship is not a recipe for long-term health. And that's what we are saying. We want there to be a reciprocity in this situation. We want to enter into a loving relationship where I am safe to love you and you are safe to love me. You treat me with a level of grace. You treat me not holding me accountable for the people that hurt you in the past. So you think you got to treat me another particular way, or you got to pull some lever that you think is going to give you a better outcome. You're still operating in a space of hurt, because you still haven't dealt with the hurt that you had from somebody else. So you think you can outwit the system. You can't outwit human nature. You can't. So therein lies the faulty narrative that you think you're going to get a better outcome because a man loves you more. And guess what? All it's doing is feeding your ego. And when you feed your ego, you edge God out. Right? So the more you edge God out, the more you start doing more of what you want to do. And the more you do what you want to do, the further away you get from God, and the further you get away from having a sustainable marriage. Because if I don't care what you say, you don't got to believe in God, but marriage is damn sure uphill battle by itself. Without God, good luck. So you want to edge God out of your marriage? You want to think you got the right recipe? Yeah, because God doesn't tell you, oh yeah, be selfish, treat somebody just any old kind of way. And I'm drawing on an extreme, so please don't be literal. right? But the idea is that when you do that, you're entering into the relationship with bad faith, because you're saying, I come from a place of lack, and so does he, so I need to have the upper hand. That's the message that you say when you need a man to, and then because you've explained it, all the women have said it in one way, shape, or form. You think you love better than us. You think you do better than us. You think when men get love, we don't know how to treat you, that we take advantage of you. So this is what everybody has said. I'm not making it up. So that idea is just not coming from a place of entering into the relationship with good faith and thinking well of the person you're with. You think that there's something wrong with them, so you want to change the odds.
I'm gonna have to disagree with that last part though, Shawn. Cause like when I was coming up, I didn't take it when my mama said it to me, find somebody that loves you more. I didn't take it like that. Like I agree with Dom. It was more of a safety. Like find somebody that's gonna treat you well and do all of those things. It wasn't so much of, I think y'all focuses so much on that more part. You know what I mean? For us, it was more of find somebody that's gonna treat you good. You know what I mean? Not necessarily the more love you part. Because I think that's where we going wrong with the more. Let's remove the more and let's just focus on loving each other. Like for real, for real. Because I think we missing the bigger picture here. And the bigger picture is we all saying we want the same thing. We all want the same thing. So like let's remove the little bickering and just love each other.
And I agree. Then my question is, why isn't your wording then let's just love each other from the very beginning? Not you personally. Why isn't it? Because again, the reason why I'm stickler for words is because it means something. Whether you know what I mean? So if the actual thing is love each other, then why isn't that the wording? Why is the wording love you more?
Because we were taught by people who didn't understand love. So when you become an adult, you make adjustments and you change and you learn. So you do better. So my words to you was, hey, let's outlove each other. Because I know better. So I'm doing better. But we were taught by people who had poor examples. You know how much stuff I've had to relearn?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? That's why. That's why I'm saying let's remove the word more and focus on the word love.
So can I ask a question? How did you get to that place? Did you have to go through relationships to experience that first?
No, understanding true love came from my kids. Because no matter how much I messed up as a parent, them kids love me regardless. You know what I mean? So that taught me what love really was and what I needed to expect from love and give to love. So for me, love is a much bigger thing. Like I love God. I'm a Christian too. But I think a lot of people get wrapped up in religion too and don't really understand that a lot of that stuff is not so much in the physical realm, but in the spiritual realm. So like, yes, we can't love the way God loved the church because that's a spiritual thing. You understand? Like you said, you can't expect me to forgive you over and over again. Like if you ever read the book of Hosea, he had to buy that chick back a couple of times. You know what I mean? I'm just being 100. I don't know nobody in the flesh that's going to go buy their woman a couple of times. So we have to take it into context for what it really is. We are fleshly people. So let's deal with where we are presently and currently. Do what we aspire to be in the spiritual realm? Absolutely. But that requires more work and effort on our part. You know what I mean?
One more question. one more question, wait, just because I want to get this. So before you had kids, you wouldn't have known what the unconditional love is in a sense, right? So, quote unquote, I'm just giving an example, like it's hypothetical. So anybody you dated before then would have had that mindset that wasn't matured as of yet, would have experienced the pre-mindset before you had kids. So anybody who you dated, hypothetically, wouldn't have got the love that they needed. Which is why I'm saying that it needs to be said, because until you had kids, which is a revelation, it was revealed to you through your kids. Before that, anybody who dated you, hypothetically, wouldn't have got the fullness of you, which is what we're talking about, why it has to be said.
Not true. Now,
I'm just going by what you said.
Let me explain me. I'm a person that loves everybody regardless. You know what I'm saying? So for me, I just love, no matter the situation or the circumstance. And that's why when you were talking about your picker, that was important. Because I didn't care who you, I'm a Build-A-Bear. I'm gonna fix this dude. But no, for me beforehand, no, I would say people still was getting genuine love from me. It just wasn't the appropriate kind of love, if that makes sense. It might have been misguided love, misappropriated love, but it wasn't the love that I should have been pouring into that individual. Because see, what I've learned by being in therapy and at the age that I am now, everybody is not deserving of the love that I should give, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? So at that age, I was loving people I had no business loving because it wasn't reciprocated.
Well, I'm gonna say I appreciate it, Precious, that you're saying that about leaving the more out. That's something that Kojo's been saying. That's something that Shawn's been saying. And I just made mention of it earlier as well, that we just focus on loving the person and the character, and that should be it. But it seems like when you say it, you get a little bit more, people hear you when you said it. So sometimes that's just what happens. Sometimes when a woman speaks, she's gonna reach more people than sometimes when a man speaks. But I say it to say that, it is important for us to look at the person as far as what we love about them. You cannot expect a man to spoil on you, to love on you, to do all this stuff for you when your focus is to make sure that you're loving him less. You can't expect that. And if we feel that you're loving us less, why are we going to spoil you? Why are we going to do that? It has to be something that's going to motivate us to do the things that we do for you. And it's something that we have to do that's going to motivate you to do the things for us that you do. So that's why I say that equal love that's being given should always be there. Yeah, there'll be times where you love each other a little bit more, a little bit less, but it shouldn't be an abundance of more from one person where it's that visual. You can see visible. You can see it that clearly. So I just think that it should just refer back to that. I think that'll be the fix.
So the reason why I was asking the question, just so you can clarify it, because me personally, I was trying to understand something. Because you said that you got a revelation for your kids, and that's why I said, so anybody before the kid. I like logic, so sometimes I have to follow it through. So just bear with me. So when you said about when you had kids, that's when you've discovered about, if I don't want to misquote you, you said something about love. So let me just let you jump in and say what you said, so I don't misquote it.
When I had kids, I understood what love was. It didn't mean that I didn't know how to love. Okay. I understood what it was when I had kids. There's a difference.
So if you discover what love was when you had kids, is it safe to say, as a premise or as a following of line of thought, that before then someone could have got an incomplete understanding of your love, which means they might have been cheated out of, when I say cheated, I mean that lightly, they would have been cheated out of the fullness of love that you could have given them.
Yeah.
So reason why I mentioned that is because when we was and by the way, I agree with you as well. We have to love each other. So I'm on the same page as you. The only reason why I'm bringing that back up is because this whole conversation has been about, we've been saying the same thing, basically. In the end, we've been saying the same thing, right? Mm-hmm. But I've been saying about the wording is very important. And I said the reason why the wording is important is because what you actually just said, right? Because yes, you rejected it, but like I said, until you come to a full revelation or understanding of what that thing means, some people don't get the fullness. Like if I don't fully understand love, right, then I don't give you the fullness. So if I understand love, I'm not measuring whether someone loves me more or less. I just give.
Right.
I don't think about that, right? But if I'm having to measure, it means I don't fully understand what love truly is, because it shouldn't be that I'm measuring the love against you. I should be just saying, okay, I'm giving. But of course, we understand that in relationships, people abuse situations and stuff like that. So that's where we're both kind of coming from. But when you was explaining your situation, I was saying, okay, this kind of makes a bit more sense, right? That before then, just like most of us, we didn't really comprehend what love really entailed. So we gave people only pieces of love. We didn't give them the fullness. And one of the things about that is that term "love you more" is a part of those pieces. It's not a part of the fullness of love. It's a part of those pieces, because it misrepresents what love truly is. It's not about finding a man that loves you more. It's about finding a man that will lead in love, but will show you love as well. Because when we ask, where does this term come from? I'm sorry. There's no way someone comes from a good, healthy marriage where they've not been hurt they've not been hurt or cheated upon or disrespected or abused, that they pass on this information saying, get your man that loves you more. That always comes from a place of fear. And we heard it with Sammy when she said, I need him to make sure he fears me. It's not coming from a place of love. And that's why I'm saying that even though you may not have taken it that way, a lot of people do. A lot of people take it that way as to being, I got to make sure I cover myself and protect. I've heard the word protect yourself. But that's a fear-based aspect. So it shouldn't be that you have a man that loves you more, but a man that leads in love. He's intentional. He shows you care. And of course, those things, and he shows you it. He can say it and he can show you it as well. Please, guys, leave those people that don't know how to say it and share it, okay? Those are for our grandfathers and those before us. We are men in this 2023. We should be able to say it and show it to you. And that's what I'm saying in that respect, that it shouldn't be a case of love more. It should be, I should be able to show you and I should be able to lead in it. You know what I mean? So, and if women are saying, oh, because I want him to do X, Y, and Z, I hear that. I'm not really disregarding that at all. But the other aspect we keep hearing is because I have to protect myself. I have to make sure I'm safe. And it's like, then at that point,
that's not love to me, though.
That's the
that's
term.
Not love to me.
Yeah.
If I gotta protect myself from you, why am I there? That's crazy.
But you kind of do in the dating stage, which I think that more part is more important during that time when you're just getting into it. Like I don't think it's a bad thing to wait to see if the person shows you, I guess, shows you more, like shows you that they're interested, shows you that they're consistent, that they're serious. I mean, I think that's a safe thing to do. And then once you're comfortable and you feel covered, then I think at that point it would be fair for you to release your love, if you will.
I think that's where boundaries come into play, especially in that dating stage. Boundaries come into play, and a lot of people don't have set their boundaries to a point where they get into a relationship now and they don't feel loved because they didn't state how they want to be loved before. They didn't state how they feel that, okay, this is how I see people showing their appreciation for me, and this is how I show my appreciation for other people. What should I show you to show my appreciation for you, so that you feel it's all about the conversation in the beginning and stating boundaries. But just going to the overall point, we're saying the same thing. I believe we're saying the same thing. Even to a point where I believe there was a comment that Felicia in the comments made, where I read it and I said, thank you for Felicia for saying that, because I literally said that. I literally said it. But one thing I do agree is the whole reason why I want to say it's a back and forth. It's a mature conversation that we're having. It was because it was the wording. The wording was very hard hitting. Some might even say it's a little bit toxic. and that word more. And I know, Precious, you said, okay, let's just forget the word more. And I do agree with it, because words do mean something, and it's intentional. Whether you like to admit it or not, it's intentional. And this is where we have to be careful of how we say things and how we put it across, because you might think it goes one way, but a collective group of people are looking at it the other way. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, some of the women on the panel were saying more, and they weren't thinking about it too deeply. But us as men on the panel, we was like, yeah, that means something else for us. And vice versa. Me as men can say something, and women, you will say, I'm not gonna lie, that doesn't sound too right to us. So, and this is due to a comment that was made in the chat as well, saying more is not that deep. It is. It is. I can't lie to you. It is that deep, because I will bring this home, and Cole just said it. When there is more, there is less. What are you trying to say? Do you get what I'm saying? But my last point is just love each other. Just love each other. It should be a natural thing. Have grace for each other. Maybe might be one time where you might not feel as loved. Communicate that. See what the other person does in response to that. Have grace. If the other person is not doing that for you, then you know what to do. If the other person is doing that for you, then you know how to go forward with it. But yeah.
Appreciate it. Go for it, Shawn, and then I'll let ladies respond.
Sure. I just think, look, we so often, get ourselves in trouble or get told off when we tell women what they should be doing. But I just find it a touch ironic when we are being told that we should do something, and we're telling you we don't like the way that it sounds, and not that we should do it, but we should do it more, and how it makes you feel. But there's zero consideration for the majority of the men. Yes, there may be some that are fine with it, right? But the majority of us men up here on this panel are telling you we don't like the notion of loving more, right? So, but we are told we're wrong. We are told we're incorrect. We're told we're out of line with the Bible. Where, the argument spins and dips and dives in so many different directions, when we are the very ones that you want to love you more, but we're telling you we don't like the way it sounds, feels. We've explained even on Sunday situations where the scales were tipped, right? And we did love more, and the outcomes of that weren't favorable. And we're not saying that we should go into relationships loving you less. What we're saying is there needs to be reciprocity. And if we're both at a point where we are literally trying to measure, or it's so palpable that you can say, yep, I know my husband loves me more, that inherently is a problem. That's what we're calling out. We're not saying that we shouldn't love our wives endlessly, that we should be willing to die for our wives 100%. All of that goes without saying. We're saying is, if there's a point where you can calculate and you can say, yeah, I need him to love me more, because that's going to make sure that he acts right. One, it's incorrect. Two, it is an imbalanced situation in the relationship, and imbalances cause problems. Again, I know you hate when we talk about this, but it's the same thing as you say, I'm going to get me an ugly man, because the ugly man is going to treat me right. I don't need no ninja competing with me, right? But guess what? What happened when the ugly man cheat on you? What happened when the ugly man treats you wrong? What happens when the man who loves you more still does what you thought he wasn't going to do? Then what happens? Because there is no way to predict, outside of vetting somebody, outside of making sure you two are equally yoked, outside of making sure every day you choose each other, outside of every day you make sure you are loving each other and loving each other the way you want to be loved. And not more, but the love that resonates with you inside your heart, right? Whatever that is. So that's the message you're trying to say. So taking us down this rigmarole, merry-go-round of biblical scriptures and men are supposed to lead. The point is, if you can measure my love for you and you feel like in your heart it's more than you love me, that's an imbalance, and it's setting up the relationship for discord and unhealth.
Ladies, talk to me. Amber, go for it.
So so I'll say this. I will agree with Shawn to a certain extent, and I'll explain why. Culture, don't look so surprised. I'll agree with you to a certain extent. I'll explain why. So something I put in the chat where the other speakers could see it was the fact of, I feel like this conversation, in a way, it comes back to a lot of, I hear my ladies saying that we want a man to love us more because maybe it'll make him behave. I've heard that before. Sam is not the first woman to say that. I've heard that before. I'm not going to single her out. I really think what it comes down to is the fact of, unfortunately, we as women, and I know I might catch some hate in the comments, I'm ready for it, we do not always hold people accountable for how they treat us. And I'm going to explain what I mean. A lot of times we are taught to be submissive is to accept everything and hold nobody accountable for their actions and for what they do. And typically, a lot of times it gets to a point where because it has never gotten checked, whatever the stuff that was going on, it gets to a point where it explodes and then it can't be fixed. As a result, you have a lot of my fellow ladies, we walking around and we're saying, I want him to be ugly so that way he won't cheat on me. I want him to love me more so that way this and that won't happen. And it comes down to the fact of, if you're not holding him accountable for stuff that you're not comfortable with, stuff that makes you feel less than, makes you not feel loved, makes you not feel appreciated, the same thing will happen whether he is Boris Kojo or Flavor Flav. It makes no difference. We have to take some accountability to the fact that sometimes we think that let's go back to God. God does not let us get away with everything. God holds us accountable. And guess what? He loves us the same. Love is not letting people get away with just anything and not saying anything about it. And I think, unfortunately, because maybe 40, 50 years ago, women, we were taught to not say anything. Now that we have been given our voice, it's going to the whole other extreme. It's no balance. It has not met in the middle. It's going from one extreme to another. It's going from women don't say nothing to now I want him to love me more. I want him to be ugly so he won't cheat. I want this. I want that. And at the end of the day, that does not work, because an ugly dude will cheat on you too. Him loving you more and stuff, he could be love bombing you and everything else and still have a chick across town that's living in the house that you paid for. It at the end of the day, if once again, come back to the picks. If there's not good picking, there's not good accountability, then it's going to be a problem. I heard somebody say in the comments, marriage has nothing to do with love. Well, if that's the case, then you are simply in a contract. You are not in a marriage. We got to stop using incorrect words for things. Y'all want to be in contracts. You can have a contract with a sugar daddy. You ain't got to go to the courthouse and get papers for that, if that's really what you want. If you're going to have a marriage, there needs to be love to sustain it, because marriage goes through different seasons. Only love can sustain you. Only love and commitment, let me put it that way, can sustain you through all the seasons of life you will encounter as a married couple. There has to be accountability on both sides. I feel in our current day and age, we lack accountability. Nobody wants to be told anything. And that's a problem. Marriage is a contract. However, the same way you have a contract with people that are doing your car and stuff, you don't go home with them, y'all don't share a bed, y'all have no children. There's no life ties with the person that details your car just because you do a contract with them. Marriage is a different type of contract, because guess what? You sign up to do life with this person. And if you don't plan to do life with them, then there's really no need for y'all to get married. You can move to a state and do common law, do what you want, handle your business. There's no need to get paperwork and everything and do all that if you don't really plan to do life with this person. We're trying to change the definitions and stuff, and we wonder why we have chaos.
I have a question. because I didn't see all of it stay on all the whole time Sunday. So I wanted to know, what resolution did the women come to with you guys? Like, as far as were the women in the agreement and saying, okay, yes, we feel like we don't need to love you guys more? Like, what was the resolution, Shawn?
There wasn't one. We resolved on Sunday to just say that we all need to love each other more, right? And focus on not having one love the other more than one, but both of us focus on loving each other more. But that was more so that was the men's panel. So that was our led discussion, right? So now this is the discussion where we're bringing it and including the women, you guys in the conversation and getting the feedback. Well, some people were on the live, some people weren't. So we are still at a level where some people are not agreeing with that notion. So what we're pushing back on is the same fact, because our point hasn't changed. We don't think men should love women more,
and women don't feel like we should love you guys more, right?
We don't think you should either.
Right.
Yep.
That's what I needed you to say.
Yeah. We don't
That's
think you
what
should
I needed
either.
you to say.
I think listen,
because your tone is just like, hey, no, we don't need to leave it.
No,
love
I
y'all
mean,
more.
I think if somebody wants to, I don't think I haven't really seen much of that in the comments that we should love them more. We are the pushback I see from the women and anybody who's in disagreement is the fact that they're justifying the point and feeling like that we should love women more. And then they're talking about the fact that it's not safe for women, when a man loves them, doesn't love them more, and, backing into it, all these other things. And listen, no disrespect, and I just want to clarify, when it comes to the Bible and the word, the point is, we can go back and forth and debate the scriptures. There's a whole field of study. There's a whole field of people that are equipped to debate the word and the scriptures and come at it with different interpretations. So none of us here are that, as far as I know, right? But the point is that once we start trying to say, well, the scripture says this and the scripture says that, it becomes a rabbit hole, because there's a certain point that it's up to interpretation. Now, are we going to start breaking it up? Are we going to look at the Aramaic, and are we going to look at the Greek version? And what does the Greek version of leadership mean? We're going to break down the etymology of it, because we can really do all of that to really understand the true meaning of leadership and how that equates to love. But doing that is not going to move the point along. So that was my point, is let's not start going back and forth with scriptures to justify what we think or what we believe. The point is that we are saying it starts an imbalance in the relationship, and entering into a relationship with an imbalance is unhealthy.
So, question: if women are saying, hey, they need to have that safety and that love, how do you guys create that space for that? Like, what does that look like from a man's standpoint?
I mean, I've always said this, that first and foremost, a man should be, first of all, leading in love. And how that looks is, I believe personally, this is my personal belief, I don't know about the guys, but I'll say it for me personally, is that I lead in those instances. For instance, I said about being intentional. So if I approach you and I say I'm interested in you, my word and my actions should match. Right. So if I say I want to take you out, I say I want to take you out, I take you out. Do you know what I mean? If I say, hey, Precious, I'm looking to move our relationship forward, I actually want us to be boyfriend and girlfriend, I do that. You know what I'm saying? If I'm saying, hey, Precious, I believe that, we're ready to get married, I propose to you. Do you know what I mean? And then if we're in a marriage, how it should look, and I've always said, if it's a break in a micro aspect, how it should look for me personally is that I should set the pace and the temperature for the relationship. So my particular mindset, how I think, how I move, how I treat you will be shown outwardly to the world, because how you will represent yourself. So if I'm called to be a leader in that love, what that looks like is, if I say don't be disrespectful, but then I am always disrespectful, how can I ask you to do something that I don't lead in? That makes no sense. If I say, hey, look, in this household, we don't say sharp to each other, but then every time I'm talking to you, I'm saying to you, shut up, then I'm not leading as a lover in that relationship. I'm not showing you how I said that we should be operating in the relationship. I'm part of the building of the culture of that relationship. And I think I've said this before, some weeks back in another video. I said this YouTube is like a marriage, because how I behave is how also my followers behave. I don't like follower, I hate that word, but whatever you call it, but as we are people, you know what I mean? If I'm rowdy, y'all gonna be rowdy, right? If I say, listen, no, listen, we respect women running around here, right? The man that come into that space cannot do that. That's why I said I love the thing that that Trey did when Bruiser came in and was moving mad. First thing Trey said is, stop that. We don't do that around here. You can't talk to women like that. We're not doing that in that space, because if I'm leading, I have to show everyone else this is how we do it. So if that means doing an apology video, I'll do an apology video, because how I want to be treated, I'm trying to show you how I want to be treated. But I've got to do that first. I can't just talk a good game and never lead in it. That's what I mean by a man should lead in love. So yes, I do believe that if I'm coming to you, it should be me taking that lead in that instance. Yeah, I think that's how it should look, if from my perspective.
Oh, just to add on to that point, yeah, I feel we should be intentional in what we will say and what we're doing. I like to put myself as a man of integrity. So if I say I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it. Don't take me seriously if I say I'm going to do it and then I don't do it. Just don't take me seriously. Also, just making a little bit of what Kojo said is accountability as well. Being accountable for your actions. Being the one where, okay, you might be moving mad in public. I might have to pull you back, protect you in public, but then behind closed doors, I'll talk to you about what the situation that happened. Because I know a lot of women don't like where they might have done something wrong in public. They don't want their man to be chastising them in public. They want them to actually, you know what, let's talk about it with each other behind closed doors. And that's how I feel like I'm protecting my woman. And I expect my woman to do the same for me. So a lot of the time is how I want to be treated is the way I'm going to treat you. I can't be saying one thing and then doing something else. Don't take me seriously. And a lot of the time, when I talk to my friends about dating and everything else, a man can talk a good game, but his actions show who he really is. Now, to say a man can act. However, he cannot act forever. He won't be able to act forever.
I think that last piece is what will help. I don't want to say help. Let me not say that, because people are free to believe what they want and hold on to whatever beliefs they want to hold on to. I let go of this love more belief because it actually, I learned the hard way on my end. But I think that in some instances, learning the hard way for this loving more thing might help people to release it, because like Sam was just saying that men can act, we can all act, but I'm just saying, like, sometimes it's not really love, it's not love that you're getting more of. It's like control, or it's manipulation, or it could be a number of things that appear to be love but are definitely not love. And so I think that it's important to pay attention to make sure that you're actually getting what you're signing up for as well. So.
Fair point. Nigel Nightmare, talk to me. Oh, you're mute. Hold on. Go for it. Yeah, go for it.
Okay. Is my camera on?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay, cool. So I think part of the problem is this is more of an internal conversation. Honestly, this is when, you know, your aunt or your mom tries to put you on game. It's not really intended to be something that, you know, the larger world hears. And what I mean by larger world, I'm referring to men. And then also, the truth is there's an imbalance when it comes to dating. In the earlier days in courting, it does appear that women have the power. And then as time, you know, as time passes, men tend to have more power. And it's not true. It's not a true inequity. It's just things start to shift. So in the earlier stages, I think what it's actually saying is, if you're showing up in the courting stage seeming way more enthusiastic, by the time things balance out, it's actually not going to feel that equal. And I think there is a language issue, and I think it's actually talking about how enthusiasm for your partner manifests in the courting stage, and how you ultimately select a partner based on that criteria. I know it's very old-fashioned, but I don't think it's anything for men to hear and try to actually modify their behavior based on, you know, like an old school wives' tale.
I think you're absolutely right, and I don't think any of the men would ever disagree with that. I think that goes back to my said point about men leading in this love aspect. I think we can say that, okay, the ladies here, the ladies on the panel, understand that this particular rhetoric is not quote unquote literal in a sense, but like I said, you're blessed to be evolved enough to have understood that. There are a lot of women who do not understand that. Do you know what I mean? Who see it from a fear perspective. That's why I'm saying that it becomes problematic, because you're absolutely right. I think personally a man should lead these interactions. You know, I'm not saying that a man shouldn't. No, you should. You know what I mean? He should lead his interactions, but also you lead it in a way that's not you lead it in a way that's not going to that you're not noticing the reciprocity either in some aspects of the way. You know what I mean? If I text a girl and she takes 5 days to respond, and then she does that a couple of times, I think I need to take my leave. She ain't interested. Yeah. So you know what I mean? I need to read the signs of the room and get myself out of that room. Do you know what I mean? So, and it's interesting. You said something really interesting. You said, you know, that that sometimes, you know, if the enthusiasm of the person, you know, can, when it gets to the end, you'll find out the person isn't necessarily at the same stage. And that's the same for men. If they're too enthusiastic when it comes to these women, this is what I call the doctrine of worshiping women. You get to a place where you end up worshiping this woman, and then you end up in a relationship which is nonsensical. And the same for women too. If they put us on a pedestal where they have us, where they're loving us too much, we end up probably abusing them too. Nobody wins when both, and when I say loving more, we know for definite, I'm not saying 50-50. I can't even measure that. But there's a level of reciprocity where it doesn't feel like I'm losing out. You know what I mean? Like, oh, if I do 5 things for you today, you're going to just do 1 just to make sure I'm okay. It's like, no, I'm not going to measure it like that. Do you know what I mean? Like, and I shouldn't feel a loss in the interaction. So I absolutely agree with you. And I'm saying that on both sides, nobody should be having it any little bit. But the fact that we're using the term just a little bit more is telling me that you're measuring it, because you have to measure yourself to say, I have to make sure I don't give too much just in case he's, you know, I have to make sure he's a bit more. That's the problem I have behind it. And then my issue is that sometimes, not you guys actually on the panel have done it, I'm seeing a chat and I'm looking at the codes like, it doesn't mean it's literal. But I'm trying to tell you that's not what we're saying, that people are taking it literal and they are literally saying this. And then they add other things like, what about women's safety? I get it, but you're still measuring it. Do you see what I'm saying? So then that's why the whole other conversation happened. But go for it again, Nigel Nightmare, and then I'll pass on the baton. I've spoken a lot today.
Yeah. I also I hear what you're saying. I also think some of that pushback from men is also a little more internal too. And I think there's this aversion from men to not look like you're being taken advantage of, not look like a simp. Honestly, I totally get that. From my vantage point as a woman, it's not really my problem so much. Like, that's not the type of thing that's keeping me up at night, right? And honestly, in the dating process, women do tend to take on more risk. Again, like as time passes, like let's say there's a couple, you get married, if for whatever reason, you know, they have to split up, it's a lot more challenging for women to enter the dating world later in life, right? Kids are not. So and then I'm not also talking about other types of risks, you know, not even talking about violence and all of that stuff. But I think there's an appropriate time to have conversations together, but then also there's certain internal conversations that I don't necessarily need to be privy to as much. But yeah, that's about it on my end. But thank you for letting me chat.
No, I appreciate it. I don't know if Shawn wants to respond to that, and then I'll let ladies jump in. Did you want to respond, Shawn? No? I would say that, you know, I agree. I can take into account that women may have more risk, and I wouldn't even disagree. Again, wouldn't disagree. That aspect of risk is not a problem. So yeah, I agree that part. I just think that I think for me, my logical mind is no, I'm not saying logical mind because that sounds like people are not logical. But the way my mind is thinking in this spurn, and not necessarily for the panel now, it's not really a panel because I think we agree. I think we've come to consensus. But the fact that I'm attacking the rhetoric, and then people are still fighting me saying it's not literal. I'm like, but you know we're attacking the literal. It's exactly why I say that people are literally going to take it literal. Because if you're fighting me, telling me it's not literal, I'm telling you we're not talking about you. We're talking about people are literal. And even if it's not literal, why would you use that term? Just let's change it because it means something, right? Like your name means something. I'm not just going to use another name just because I can. The term has a meaning, which oftentimes leads to a behavior if someone takes it on. So that's what we're trying to highlight for the audience to say it's. You can't say it's not deep or we understand it. If we did understand it, we wouldn't be having this argument. If they understood it, they wouldn't have this argument because they would say, you're right, actually, me saying love more is not the correct terminology. That's not the right thing to say because it's not love more. It's literally a man should show up, he should lead in love, and he should be demonstrating that. That's not love more. That's a demonstration. That's a leadership in love. That's not more. And so the argument we're having right now is based upon the fact that people don't understand. They're telling us to do, but they don't because they're still arguing with us. Do you know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying about not just you. That's what the panel. We've come to consensus. I think we've come to consensus. We agree. So you know what I mean. But yeah, you know, I like an argument. So you know, and we haven't come to the 3-hour mark. We're almost there. That's why I have to push the time a little bit more. You know what I mean? But Nigel, you want to say something again, and then I'll let the girls jump in.
No, I think I've beaten a dead horse from my end. But
bring that horse back to life. Better resurrect. I'm playing. Precious, did you want to say something? Apologies.
Do you have expectations going in?
Do I have expectations going in?
Yeah.
Of my partner or of the relationship?
Yes. Of your partner.
Yes. I have expectations.
So isn't that kind of dibbling in the same kind of waters?
I don't think so. I mean, you should have expectations as well. When maybe the word expectation is the wrong word. I have well, number one, I have standards going in, and number two, I guess I can say I have expectations, like what I want to see happen, right? But what I want to see happen may not happen, and I have to be okay with that. You know what I mean? Then I have to be okay with that. Let's say like I expect her to be. I don't like rude people. I don't like people being disrespectful to other people. Let's say her tone is a bit mad. I don't like that kind of stuff, and I'm like, hey, I expect people when they talk to me. I don't like that kind of stuff. But if you say to me, hey, that's just me, I'm gonna be like, okay, I don't like it. But if that's you, let's leave it at that. For me, I can't live with that. It's not my thing. I'm very, things like that. So yes, I do have expectations as well going in. Do you have expectations going in, Precious?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I was just trying to play devil's advocate.
Like I felt the setup coming, but I was like, I'm not sure where it's coming from.
It was a setup. He was trying. It's a false equivalent because having expectations and loving
he
more.
liked to argue, bro. Did he just say that?
I was like, wait. I was like, where's she going?
No.
I was like, I know me setup, but I can't see where the setup was coming from. Where's she coming from?
Oh, man. I'm sorry,
Precious.
Kojo. I'm sorry.
No,
I'm
I
sorry.
appreciate you. Listen, I appreciate. Hey, nothing wrong with that at all. I like a little setup too, baby. Listen, do you know what I mean? Like minds think alike. I ain't mad at it at all.
I mean, I think here's the thing. It's great to have healthy discussion. Everybody can't understand the expectations going forward. Like we really got to stop viewing situations in negative ways and look at the positive. Because I think we always lean with the negative first instead of saying, hey, how can we make this a positive situation? Or what can we take positively from that situation? You know, but
and you know, I would just even say this, which is interesting, right? The reason why I think this conversation is really great, and I know the ladies have said this is, and Nigel kind of hinted to it, I've heard other ladies say as well, is kitchen talk. Why I believe this is really important. Let me give you another kitchen talk that men have. You should be choosing a woman that cooks and cleans, regardless of whether she works. She should cook and clean. But that's kitchen talk. See, just because it's kitchen talk, don't mean it's right. Just because my elders have said it to me, that choose a woman that cooks and she cleans, make sure she's this way, doesn't mean I have to adhere to that. But maybe women wouldn't have known that until some of those manosphere people start opening their dirty, stinking mouths.
But like I said, we learned from unhealthy people, though. We learned from people who did not know the proper way to have relationship, right? Because think about it, great granddaddy might have had a whole family 5 houses down. You know what I'm saying? So they didn't know the proper way to have relationship. We was just going by what we heard.
I agree. And which is why this conversation is important, so we can challenge each other. Because I definitely got some expectations that are probably rooted in patriarchy, that's probably rooted in misogyny. And you guys are going to challenge me too at the same time. And my wife, hopefully by the grace of God in future, will also challenge me on certain rhetorics that I have for myself, thinking that's okay. So these conversations are part of that as well, that we need to be able to kind of maneuver and say, okay, I know it was a kitchen talk before for one of the men or for the ladies, but now we're exposing it, because I think, and this is my final point, and I'll let Shawn jump in. The reason why this is so powerful and what we're doing right now, why it's so powerful, is because if we don't have those conversations, they still get played out in a relationship. So now, just because we haven't said it, doesn't mean we're not playing it out. I'm having expectations that are wild. You're looking at me. I'm not looking at you. You have wild expectations, and it plays out in the relationship. But now what we're doing here is we're kind of unearthing those things, just in case some of us need to test our theories, because some of our theories might be a little bit wild before we get into a relationship, and someone can tell you, hey, slow your roll, bro. That what you're saying right there, cut that off. You know what I mean? So you guys have checked me several times, some of the things I say, and I appreciate that, because some things I think to myself, that's normal. But it's not, you know? Sorry, Precious, you want to say something? And then Shawn, you can jump.
Oh, I was just about to say, like, when you get married, I want people to remember the Bible say you won. So that cooking and cleaning go for you too, dog.
I don't know about that, but you know, if I remember correctly, Rebecca was out in the kitchen. If I remember correctly, Rebecca was in the kitchen.
The Bible say you won, son. So what I do, you do. We move like that. We move like that.
So then we should both love each other more then if we won.
Facts.
That's it.
I agree.
We come to a conclusion. Look at that. Come to a conclusion. I don't Nigel remember she did her lip like, I don't know if that is true for me, you know. She was like, I don't know if that's true for me. Sweet love. Oh, you're still muted, babe. You want to say something?
Were you talking about me?
Yeah, I was saying, I said it looked like you did. I was like, are you disagreeing?
No, maybe slightly.
Say it. Tell us.
I just think it's dating.
Mm-hmm.
I just think it's like dating tactics. It's more so guidance for the type of person that would maybe not consider a guy who she considers slightly too thirsty or slightly too enthusiastic, right? And I think it's saying like, hey, maybe don't cast aside that person. You know, maybe them showing that enthusiasm for you is actually a positive, right? Because a person who's, you know, keeping you distant and cool, and you're like, oh, I'm kind of intrigued, they might get a little more distant, So it's kind of like a warning about maybe the cool guy. At least that's how I interpret it.
That's fair. I hear you. Yes,
Um,
Amber. You want to say?
so my question is if there's any men in the chat and also to Shawn. Okay, so I'm gonna speak from my personal experience. What? Shawn's the last. Shawn and Coach O, the last 2 men left, and then there's some men in the chat. This question is going to y'all. So my personal experience. I mentioned earlier how I've really basically had one serious relationship. The stuff before that, a bunch of situationship stuff. One thing I noticed that all those situations had in common was I started to pursue the man halfway through the situation. I explain what I mean. It was the whole thing of showing him more attention, kind of trying to take the wheel and direct the situation. Now, I've been told by men that you all don't like that. Now, if that is, because when you say love more, it does kind of start going to that line of who's pursuing who in the dating stage, not marriage, in the dating stage. So I guess my question is, do you all want to be doted on, or is that more of a turn off? Because I've heard most men say that they actually don't like that. It gets desperate and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And it makes her seem, it takes away the masculine energy. And I've heard a lot of rhetoric. So my question is, what is it per se from the men? I'm gonna let y'all answer this one. Y'all know how y'all think. I don't. What is it exactly?
Shawn, do you want to take it or?
I think that's not love. That is showing interest to me. And I do think that for the most part, men should lead in the showing interest in the dating phase and in the relationship phase, right? There still needs to be some level of reciprocity, right? Like if you are enjoying the attention that I'm giving you, then I should know it, and then there should be things that you can do to show that you enjoy my attention and my time. I don't think they need to be the same things, and I don't necessarily need to be pursued by a woman. I don't think, on the other hand, and I mean, this is layered, right? But I don't think there's anything wrong with a woman letting a man know that she may be interested. But I think it becomes a delicate balance of how far you push when you do that. Like, I don't think you need to write it out. You can, say some very, let the man know in so many ways that there's an interest, but I don't think a woman should be chasing a man around, I guess, if that's what I'm saying. I don't need flowers, all those things. Like, I know 2023 and some men like flowers from women. I don't necessarily need that. I don't need flowers. I don't need grand gestures. I definitely don't want to be proposed to. Absolutely not. But letting me know that you appreciate the energy is good.
And I think also as well, look, first things first, right? Interest from the right person usually doesn't become cringy, corny, doesn't make anybody feel some type of way. Interest from the wrong person always is a problem. This is just straight up. This is for both men and women. I think after that, when it comes to men and women, what women don't want, oftentimes men don't want. Nobody wants anybody else to feel like they're being thirsty. You understand? You don't want me to feel like I'm being thirsty towards you. You don't feel like you're being thirsty to it. So there is some type of, there can be, quote unquote, sometimes a mini game, but I don't want to call it a game in a sense, right? So like and again, let me say no. Let me stop. Let me rewind that. That's an unhealthy mindset. I'm going to rewind that. Okay, I'm going to take that back, because when you fear to love, this is often where the game comes in, right? And I'm because in my head I have a picture. When you text somebody, don't text back too quickly. But in my head, that's a game, because when I like you, I don't care how quickly you text back. I'm not gonna lie to you. I want you to text back immediately. You know what I mean? When I want you, I want you to text back. So it's only a game when we're trying to protect ourselves. We play those games about, I'm not gonna call them back now. I'm gonna wait till they text me and like all that nonsense. But I think in your particular description that you gave, as for men, we do want to be appreciated or adorned or adored, however you want to call it, but it's got to come from the right source. That's the whole point of men. Men want the same. Men want the same thing as women. We want it from the right source. There are people in your graveyard of DMs, ladies, that are giving you some energy, but they're not the right source. So even when the light is shining from the grave, you're not resurrecting them. You're leaving them there. Why? Because they're not the right source. It's nice that you gave me that interest, and maybe you might even entertain it for a little while, but they're going back in the ground, right? Because they're not the right source. So I think, both parties here can do similar things, which is when you show almost too much keenness and it's not being reciprocated. You know what I mean? That's why I said that if I text somebody and they don't text back for 5 hours, I gotta read, and they do it several times. I gotta read the room. It's a pattern of behavior. At the same time, too, if I text you and I double text you and you still ain't reply, but then I triple text you, I'm showing too much keenness. Back up, because you're doing too much. Sometimes you gotta text them and leave it, and sometimes they may not reply straight away. Maybe they were doing something, they were busy, and you have to keep your composure. Sometimes we lose our composure because we like that person so much. We're thinking to ourselves, if I bag this one, if I bag this worldie of a girl, or if I bag this worldie of a man, I've made life. Life has made me. And so you lose composure sometimes in the interaction, and you might go overstepping, the situation. Do you know what I mean? But if I text you once and then it's like, okay, maybe if I didn't talk to you for maybe if I missed your message, it's been a few days, you might want to say, hey, are you okay? Whatever. That's fine. But if I keep doing that, I'm trying to tell you something. You feel what I'm saying? Like, I'm trying to tell you something. Like, I always watch out for people. Look, if you miss someone's message, how do they respond back? When people don't say sorry, just know they don't give a fuck about you. They don't give no hoots about you. And you know what? You are in the graveyard. Okay. So if they miss a message or a call from you and they never say, oh, sorry, my bad. You know what? I was doing you in a graveyard for that person. Yeah. That's a rule, but I wouldn't say it's always the case, but it's a rule to go by. People who care about you will show that and say, hey, look, I missed your call, Precious. I'm really, really sorry about that. Are you free? I'm free later on, whatever. Right. So both parties should not be overly investing in the beginning. You don't know if I'm a bastard, and I don't know if you're a vixen. That's a viper. I don't know. So nobody should over extend themselves until you see a pattern of behavior that has been firmly placed. So this is for my sisters. I'll say this for my sisters, for us as men, right? When a man's interested, consistent behavior is one of the ways to root out the ones that are absolutely trash. And listen, even if he's nice, there are nice guys out there who are inconsistent. They're going to be inconsistent in the marriage. So you don't need them. Because when I like something, I'm telling you now, when I like something, I might even by mistake double text. So I'm just trying to tell you something. I'm consistent with my behavior. I want to let you know. Because sometimes people kind of want to have that delusion, a little bit of the lie to themselves, like, but the reality is I'm going to be consistent if I like you. And if I can't be consistent, you don't need to be around me. Leave me alone. Don't fight for me. Don't fight for me. Let me drown. Okay? Let me drown in my inconsistency. Don't save me. And that's the same for men too. If you see, because I remember I was that guy. I was that guy that was drowning in when a girl gave you just even a breadcrumb. One fine girl will give you a little text back. You'll be so excited, and she won't text you back for another 3 weeks. You are drowning, sir. You're drowning. Leave it alone. You know what I mean? So that's what I would say, for the people that are dating. Don't let those non-swimmers enter your water pools. You know what I'm saying? But we've reached our time. We've actually gone over our time. Shawn, you need to give us a benediction. He gonna summarize everything in his benediction. Watch this. Watch this.
I don't know, Coach. I don't know, because I thought we summarized it on Sunday. I thought this was going to be a great, healthy dialogue, but I feel like we took 2 steps forward and 1 step back. So nevertheless, we gonna have to go with semantics, right? Some of y'all have said ignore the semantics. No, we're going to pay attention to the semantics because words matter. Words matter. They're important. And life and death comes from the power of the tongue, right? So we know that these words matter. Words have meaning. They are connected to something, right? So if you feel that you are in a relationship with someone where you have to they have to love you more, you need to reevaluate. Reevaluate your mathematical equations, because the math ain't mathing. You should be so focused on loving them, and they're so focused on loving you, and you're so secure in yourself and knowing and loving that you don't have to measure their love over yours, and vice versa. It should be reciprocal. It should be healthy. We promote healthy relationships around here. We promote equivocal love over here, and not a measuring contest, right? You know, it says we want to talk about scriptures. We can drop one, right? Love does not keep count of wrongs, right? So how are we keeping count? How do we have a love calculator if we are truly loving, right? If we are giving it freely, then we shouldn't be measuring, right? So very important, you know, and sometimes we have to challenge what we think we know. We have to challenge the very notions. We have to challenge the things that our forefathers and foremothers told us, because they were learning, they were living and trying their best. So we need to find a love that works for us. You need to find a love that is everlasting. And if you really want true love, first, that love is in the Father, right? Because that love is a love that will never end, will never disappoint, will never, ever let you go. So that's the love that we all should pursue first. Because once we're truly pursuing that, we won't have to worry about who's loving us more in relationships, because we know that we are trusting God and loving him first. And I will end with my newfound joy of lyrics. So I'm going to read you a few lyrics from the Kirk Franklin song, Love. So love, it's a word that comes and goes, but few people really know what it means to really love somebody. Then I'm going to skip down to Jesus. You know what it really means to be loved. Patient, love, kind, love, sweet love. And I'm so glad that your love will stay. Back to you, Coach.
Thank you, bro. Appreciate it. Listen, audience, it's been great, you know. I know I chose Carnage today, and I did try to rile you guys up a little bit. I ain't gonna lie to you. See, how I led in it. I led in Carnage, and what happened after Carnage? You see, it's how you lead. You understand? So, but no, I really did appreciate the conversation. It was good. And I think we got to kind of just explore different things as well from the ladies as well, giving their pushbacks. And I appreciate the ladies giving pushback, because I think it just helps with the dialogue, and it gets us to think as well. We don't want it to be one way, a railroading, and just whatever men say means is right. There has to be effective pushback as well, so that we can actually also be learning holistically. So thank you so much, ladies, for the conversation. Thank you for the mandem as well who were in the chat. I did see you as well. We appreciate your participation as well. But listen, guys, I'm not going to sleep, because apparently Simone has responded, and I'm going to do a video live. I'm sorry. I need to know what is going on. She has done a video. We are all going to go and take our bus there. So give me 5 minutes, because I'm going to put that live up straight away. We're going to watch it together, guys. Don't watch it without me. Okay, grab your popcorn, grab your pen and paper. We're going to watch Simone live. I won't even speed it up. We'll do it in normal time, blood. You understand? That's how passionate I'm about this. I want to see what Simone said. I need to see the receipts. She put in W with a slash, additional receipts, which means there's some receipts. So I need to see what's going on. You understand? Yeah? I need to see what's going on. Yeah. So if you're going to sleep, we appreciate you. But if you're not going to sleep, catch us in about 5 minutes. I'll put up the live. I'm going to pop a little poster thing, and we'll get it going. All right? I appreciate you guys. Thank you. Oh, well, I can't leave you without leaving here with something, isn't it? Yeah?
I'm leaving here with something. You know what I mean? I'm from around the way. I'm leaving with something.
And then also as well, because the topic was hot.
It's okay, it's okay!
It's okay, guys. You don't have to stress. You understand? And I will leave you on this last point, because today I chose violence.
I don't want peace. I want problems, always.
All right. So listen, we're about to go and jump onto another live, but you know what you can do?
Get out of here.
Get out of here, man.
That's it. We appreciate you guys. Stay locked and stay loaded. We appreciate it. We'll see you again in about 5 minutes if you're alive and awake. Baby. I said I was going to do a live at 12 in the morning when I guess I ain't doing it at 12 in the morning, this live. I have to push it back because I need to do this live right away. So we're going to see you in a few minutes, guys. Much love and appreciation. We'll see you again very, very soon.